Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Aidan Doyle alongside Carter Woodeel and Morris Sheridan here live at Eldridge Park in beautiful Orleans, Massachusetts, as Brewster Whitecaps look to take on the Orleans Firebirds here on a beautiful Sunday night. Carter, this Orleans Firebirds team comes in streaking. They are red hot, red as the color of the sleeves on their uniforms. They have won 7 straight games, including a 17-3 victory over the Hyannis Harbor Hawks last night at McKeon Park. This is a team that ranks number 1 in runs scored, number 1 in ERA, and number 1 in fielding percentage in the Cape League. How can this Brewster Whitecaps team and starting pitcher Davis Daniels slow down this Orleans team?
It's going to be tough, and this is a team that's made a habit of jumping out to early leads. That's something that I'm sure the Brewster manager Jamie Shevchik is well aware of. So far, they've outscored their opponents 20-2 in their last 2 innings during those past 3 games. They're really streaking well for Orleans, and Brewster has kind of made a habit of jumping out with some early runs in their first few games of the year as well. So that's something to keep an eye on. But it's going to be tough for Davis Daniel. Coach Shevchik said that he kind of tired out at the end of his first start earlier this season, and we'll see how far into this game he can go.
This is an Orleans team that is 9-1 in their last 10 games. They sit atop the Eastern Division of the Cape Cod Baseball League. And like we talked about, Davis Daniel getting the start for the Whitecaps today. He's made 1 start so far in this Brewster Whitecaps season. Got the win in it, but only lasted 4 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, so a 6.75 ERA for the right-hander out of Auburn. And this is a win, or this is a game that would mean a lot to this Whitecaps team if they were able to win it. They've lost 2 straight. They've had some trouble with errors and leaving men on base. And for more on what this win could mean for the Brewster Whitecaps, we go down to the third member of our crew, Morris Sheridan.
Thanks, Aidan. Well, in talking to head coach Jamie Shevchik, he said that this win could just be a morale booster for his team. He says they've been a little down. The dugout hasn't been as loud as he's wanted it to be. So he says if they can snap this win streak, then this would be huge for his team. And just going forward, they're going to have Chandler Taylor back and Julian Infante in the next couple of days. So he says if they can do this today, then they can really have a great win streak going forward. Back to you guys.
Thanks for that, Maura. And yes, he said divisional game matters. Every divisional game means a little bit more than when they play a Bourne or a Falmouth or a Wareham or whomever it may be in the Western Division. But this one certainly would mean even more, stopping an Orleans team that, like I mentioned, has won 7 consecutive games. And this is the lineup that Coach Shevchik will throw out there trying to take down these Orleans Firebirds. Leading off and playing second base out of Western Michigan, it's Connor Smith. Batting second, Kyle Daughtris makes his return to the lineup after sitting out a few games with an arm injury. He gets to start at third base for Brewster. Batting third, switch-hitting catcher Mickey Gasper, who is one of the top 6 hitters in the Cape League when it comes to average, and number 2 in RBI. Batting fourth, Marty Costas, right fielder out of the University of Maryland. Batting fifth, Zach Gahagan, who gets to start at first base today for Coach Shevchik. Batting 6th, playing shortstop and wearing number 6 is A.J. Graffinino, so 6-6-6 there. Batting 7th out of the University of Georgia, the designated hitter tonight for Brewster, Michael Curry. Batting 8th, Hunter Bishop, center fielder out of Arizona State. And rounding out the Whitecaps order is the switch-hitting left fielder Devin Foyle. And like we mentioned, Carter, on the mound, the right-hander out of Auburn, Davis Daniel. Kyle Daughtris makes his return to the lineup today, Carter. How much do you think against a left-handed pitcher that Orleans is throwing out there in Ryan Rollison? Coach Shevchik has talked about the need for that right-handed bat back in the lineup. How much bigger of an impact do you think having him in the lineup makes?
Yeah, it's important from an offensive perspective. It's important from an offensive perspective, but it's also, from a defensive one as well. This is a guy who's got a steady hand over at third base. I know one thing that Jamie Shevchik was talking about was the amount of unearned runs that his team has surrendered so far this season. It's just too high a number, as he would put it. And Kyle Daughtris has been one of the more sure-handed guys on that infield. But you're right. Whenever you're able to stack the lineup lefty-righty, it's very important, not just for the starter, but for the entire rest of the game. It makes it difficult for Kelly Nicholson in the other dugout to play some matchups later on.
And now we'll quickly run through the Firebirds order. It's Jimmy Herron, designated hitter, leading off for Orleans. Batting second baseman out of Vanderbilt, Ethan Paul. Nico Dicolati gets a start in right field, batting third for Orleans. Cesar Salazar gets the start behind the plate for the Firebirds. Steven Scott batting fifth, getting the start in left field. Brandon Riley playing center field, batting sixth. Jax Groshans batting 7th, playing 3rd base. Batting 8th, Lars Nootbaar playing 1st base. And rounding out the Orleans order, it's Jeff Hotby, the shortstop. We'll take a short break now as we listen to the national anthem coming up to Independence Day here in the beginning of July. So a beautiful national anthem indeed. We'll take a short break, and when that's finished, we'll come back with Whitecaps baseball. Back here at Eldridge Park in Orleans, where lefty Ryan Rollison has taken the mound for the Orleans Firebirds, throwing warm-up pitches to his catcher Cesar Salazar, and we are just about ready to get underway. This is the second time that these Brewster Whitecaps have come here to Eldridge Park. Opening night way back on June 14th, Carter. We sat in this exact same spot for our first game as Brewster Whitecaps broadcasters. The Whitecaps won that one 6-1. The final score, Connor Higgins was excellent on the mound. Mickey Gasper had a 2-run home run to left field. And the Whitecaps started off their season on the right note with a 6-1 victory over the Firebirds. Now they look to make it 2-0 against Orleans this season and snap the Firebirds' 7-game winning streak. Connor Smith in the box. Ryan Rollison toes the rubber. First pitch fastball. And it misses outside for ball one, and we are underway here at Eldridge Park. Rollison, 6'3" lefty out of Ole Miss. Another fastball. This one skips home in the dirt. 2-0 the count on Smith. Rollison, in his one start in a Firebirds uniform, got the win, went 4 1/3, gave up 2 hits, 2 earned runs, walked 1, and struck out 5. 2-0 count to Connor Smith as Rollison threw the windup, and now another one skips home. Good block by Salazar, and it's 3-0 on the Whitecaps leadoff man. Smith getting the start at second base today for the Whitecaps, a guy who we've seen play second, short, and third. 3-0 taking all the way as Rollison pours one right down the heart of the plate for strike one. Smith out of Western Michigan University, one of the Broncos. And the 3-1 fastball misses just high above the letters, and the Whitecaps have the leadoff man aboard with a Connor Smith walk.
And that's been just what Connor Smith has been good at doing so far this season, getting on base. He's been terrific at it these past few games for Brewster. No wonder that Coach Shevchik slotted him back into the leadoff spot of the order. And once he gets on base, he's a smart base runner. He's 4 for 4 stealing bases so far this season.
Yeah, Smith coming into this game before that walk with a .375 on base percentage. Now the number 2 hitter, Kyle Daughtris, steps in. Pickoff throw to first, not in time as Smith gets back safely. Daughtris, right-handed hitting third baseman out of the University of North Carolina. As Rollison comes set, kicks in the first pitch. Fastball misses down and in for ball one. Daughtris, like I mentioned, missed a few games for the Whitecaps. Slept wrong on the wrong side, kind of irritated his arm. It's a little sore, so Coach Shevchik gave him a few days off. And now the 1-0. Fastball just misses off the outside corner. 2-0 now to count on Daughtris. Daughtris, originally from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, comes into this game batting .265 for Brewster. 9 hits in his first 34 at-bats. 9 runs scored. Now looks at a fastball from Rollison right down the heart of the plate. Now 2-1 on Daughtris. Wind blowing out to right center field, shifting a bit though.
Yeah, swirling today.
As the 2-1 lined in the hole in between short and third. It was a shortstop, Hotby, who went to reach for it but couldn't quite get there, and so now with 2 men on base, nobody out for Mickey Gasper.
You know, we saw something, I think, that yesterday at Stony Brook Field. It looked like that one just hit right where the infield grass meets the infield dirt. A real tricky hop for Jeff Hopey to deal with trying to backhand that baseball. Wound up rolling into left field. Perhaps a bit of a lucky break for Brewster, but the ground balls fall where they may. That's baseball.
And now Mickey Gasper steps in against Ryan Rollison. 2 runners on, nobody out here in the top of the first inning. And the first pitch from Rollison misses in the dirt for ball one. Gasper, if you remember, back on opening night, last time these Whitecaps played here at Eldridge Park, hit a 2-run home run to left field from the right side. Gasper being a switch hitter, batting right-handed against the left-throwing Rollison. Now looking to beat that with a 3-run home run to left field.
That really was kind of the start of the Mickey Gasper legend, wasn't it?
The man, the myth, the legend. 1-0 count. Fastball from Rawlison misses inside. 2-0 now on Gasper.
I mean, at the time when he got there, he was this catcher out of Bryant. We weren't sure exactly how he was going to adjust to the wood bat and playing against top-level arms on the Cape League. I mean, he starts things off by taking advantage, just knocking a home run out of the park deep to left field, and no doubter. And from there, it's been a terrific season for him.
Ethan Paul and Lars Nootbaar convene on the mound with Rawlison. Now return to their respective bases. Rawlison comes set, and the 2-0. Fastball right down the heart of the plate for strike one. So Rawlison having some trouble getting ahead in the count early here in the first inning. 2-1 count on Gasper. He's thrown 8 balls and 4 strikes so far to the Whitecaps. 2-1 misses in the dirt. Good block there by Salazar. And the count now 3-1 on Gasper.
Yeah, Rawlison only with 1 walk to his name in the 4 1/3 innings pitch that he's pitched on the Cape so far this season. Of course, now he's got another one with the walk to Smith to start the game off.
3-1 count. Rawlison comes set. And the pitch to Gasper. Swung on and fouled back over the first base dugout and out of play. Gasper, a guy who's not afraid to work the count and take his walks. He leads the team with 13. No one else on the Whitecaps has double digits. The closest is Michael Curry with 9. Gasper's on-base percentage a ridiculous .478. When you combine the walks, as Rawlison paints the lower corner for strike 3. Gasper down looking. Painted the low inside corner with a fastball there, and Rawlison gets the first out of the top of the first.
That's tough. You know, we do often see Mickey Gasper sometimes take exception to strike calls, not in any way where he starts arguing or anything, but you can just kind of see him give a look over, maybe didn't agree with it. And that time he had taken 2 or 3 steps over to first base before we heard the home plate ump call strike 3.
So now a big at-bat here from Marty Costas, right fielder out of Maryland. As Rawlison misses very high for ball 1. Costas, a guy who we've seen show a lot of power. He has 3 home runs so far in a Whitecaps uniform in just 11 games. As Rawlison comes set, and the 1-0. Fastball right over the inner corner, evens count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Costas, a bit of a free swinger though, with just a 182 average in 33 at-bats. Has 6 hits, but 3 of them for home runs. The other 3 are all singles. 1-1 pitch from Rawlison on its way. This one lined to the right field, slicing away from the right fielder Decalotti, and that'll get down. Costas digging for extra bases. They're waving home Connor Smith. They're going to hold Dotteris at third, and the Whitecaps take a 1-0 lead on a Marty Costas RBI double to right field.
Well, I tell you what, maybe he heard you, Aiden, when we were talking about it being a free swinger, driving a lot of home runs, because he's able to push that one to the opposite field for a double. Terrific piece of hitting from Marty Costas, and you're right, that's not something we've seen a ton from him so far this season. Got to be feeling good with that RBI2 bagger.
So the Whitecaps now on top 1-0 here at Eldridge Park, and 2 runners in scoring position for Zach Gahagan, first baseman today for Brewster. Right-handed batter out of the University of North Carolina. Rawlison with runners on second and third goes back to the windup. And the first pitch to Gahagan. Another fastball that misses high above the letters for ball 1. So we're still in the top of the first inning, but the Marty party here at Eldridge Park has already started. Costas with an RBI double to right field. 1-0 count to Gahagan as Rawlison steps off the rubber. Now toes it back as he looks into his catcher Salazar. 1-0 count and the pitch. Fastball right over the outer corner. Evens count, 1 ball and 1 strike. A.J. Graffinino waiting on deck for the Whitecaps. As Rawlison looks into his catcher, Salazar. Now through the windup and the 1-1. Fouled off straight back and over the netting out of play, so the count moves to 1-2 on Gahagan. Gahagan activated just a few days ago for the Whitecaps. Played in 4 games, 2 for his first 10 with a run scored. Really brought on as a second-year Whitecap because of his veteran presence, the leadership qualities he provides. and he chases that one in the dirt for strike 3. Good breaking ball there from Rollison, and there's 2 down here in the top of the first.
Yeah, that was a good breaking ball there. Got Zach Gahagan fooling. You know, one of the elements that Jamie Shevchik likes about Zach Gahagan is his composure when he's in there on the field and with his teammates in the dugout as well. That time, just chasing that one. Not able to keep himself from pulling the trigger, so to speak, on a pitch out of his zone.
Now A.J. Graffinino steps in. Lefty-lefty matchup here as Rollison through the windup. Deals a fastball that misses off the inner corner for ball 1. Graffinino, we're used to seeing him up near the top of the order, either batting first or second. Moved down to the 6th spot today in Coach Shevchik's lineup. He's batting 6th. He plays shortstop with his number 6 as Graffinino chops this one, fielded on a hop by the first baseman Nootbaar. Foot race to the bag, and he beats him. Nootbaar with a nice play there to beat Graffinino to first, and that will end the top of the first inning. But the Whitecaps get a run. It comes on a Marty Costas RBI double to right field. 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left on base for Brewster. We played half an inning here at Eldridge Park in Orleans. Whitecaps on top of the Firebirds, 1-0. Keep it right here, though. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network. Back here at Eldridge Park in Orleans, Davis Daniel, the righty out of Auburn University, has taken the mound for the Brewster Whitecaps. It'll be his 2nd start for Brewster. First one went 4 innings, 7 hits, allowed 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. He got the win, but his ERA at 6.75. First pitch to the Orleans leadoff man, Jimmy Herron, a fastball cut on and missed for strike 1. So a good start there for Davis Daniel. Mickey Gasper doing the catching today for Brewster as Gasper works through the windup. This one skips home for ball 1. Herron, the leadoff man for Orleans, got the start at designated hitter today for Coach Kelly Nicholson. Right-handed batter out of Duke, off to a very good start as he fouls this one straight back and over the netting. 1-2 now the count on Herron. In 15 games for Orleans, batting .404, 21 for his first 52. Does have a home run, 9 RBI, and 5 stolen bases, so good speed out of the leadoff spot. Daniel misses below the knees there with a fastball. And so the count evens at 2-2. Daniel, another Whitecaps pitcher who works quickly. 2-2 offering, fastball skips home, and the count runs full on the leadoff man, Herron.
Yeah, it sure seems like these guys know that the fans have fireworks here in Orleans after this game. They're really kind of moving this game quickly. Both of these pitchers are working at a fast clip.
Full count to Herron and the payoff pitch. This one lined into left field. Moving in is the left fielder, Foyle, and that one will drop in front of him. So the Orleans Firebirds with a leadoff single. It comes off the bat of Jimmy Herron. And that'll bring up Ethan Paul, the number 2 hitter and second baseman for Orleans.
Well, he's got a 404 average, does Heron, and it's going up even more now. That's hit number 22 on the season for him in 53 at-bats. There's no wonder why he's in the leadoff spot, right?
Now the left-handed hitting second baseman Ethan Paul, a second-year Firebird out of Vanderbilt University, steps in. Daniel now working from the stretch. This one skips home. Good block there from Gasper to keep it in front of him for ball 1.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Gasper handles those pitches. We saw a pass ball from Justin Coons yesterday at Stony Brook Field for Brewster.
1-0 the score here at Eldridge Park. Whitecaps on top of the Firebirds here with nobody out in the bottom of the first inning, and the pitch from Daniel. Fastball right at the knees to even the count at 1-1. Daniel, not the most physically imposing pitcher, just 6 feet tall, 180 pounds. Much different from a Sam Bordner or a Ryan Avedano, these monsters out there on the rubber, 60 feet and 6 inches away. Daniel there with a fastball, misses down and in for ball 2. 2-1 now the count on Paul. Paul, another guy who isn't very physically imposing, just 5'10", 175 pounds. But off to another great start for the Firebirds, .319 in his first 14 games. Daniel with another fastball. Gasper blocked it in the dirt, but couldn't find it there for second, but Heron is held at first. Daniel working from the stretch as Heron leads off of first base. Now comes set, and the pitch. 3-1 hit on the ground, foul down the first base line. A couple Firebirds fans jump out into foul territory and make a nice little ground ball play there.
Probably one of the better places to grab a ground ball foul here.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Both beyond the dugouts, both lines eventually get into no netting, much like Brewster, where you can just take one on the ground. Runner goes. This one lifted into the air into the infield. It's a stop. Graffinino calling him off. Throw it over to first base. Not in time. They tried to double up Heron, but the Orleans designated hitter slid back in time. So that'll go as an F6, and there's one down here in the bottom of the first.
That's good thinking there from Graffinino to try and make that play. Was very decisive with the throw. As soon as he got it, used those quick hands to try and fire it into first base. And Heron was caught stretching there. Lucky to get back in time.
And now Nico Decolati, the right fielder tonight for the Firebirds, digs in. Right-handed batter out of Loyola Marymount, originally from Las Vegas, Nevada. As Daniel comes set, and his first pitch, fastball, misses downstairs for ball 1. Decolati, another Firebird who's just off to a great offensive start. In his first 7 games, batting .407, 1 point higher than Ted Williams, last man to bat .400 in a season in the major leagues, batted .406. Runner goes, fastball in there for strike 1. Throw from Gasper will get into center field. Heron stays at second, though. It seemed to be tripped up on Connor Smith, who was covering the throw there. So Heron will have a stolen base, and now the Firebirds have a runner in scoring position with one down here in the bottom of the first.
And that was kind of strange. It looked like Smith might have gotten a little tripped up too, lost his footing. Not sure if he would have been able to make that play anyway, as that throw was above his head, but didn't really give the dive that you expect for a throw, but you winds up making it into center field on that play.
Fastball there from Daniel in there for a strike. Really just painted the outside corner there. 1-2 now the count on Decolati. Daniel looking into his catcher Gasper, shakes off the first sign, now gets what he wants and comes set. Kicks and the 1-2. Breaking ball misses down and away. Good stop there from Gasper. Count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sun is shining down the right field line here at Eldridge Park. A 5:30 start here between the Firebirds and Whitecaps. A little bit earlier than we're used to at Eldridge Park. This one lined into right field. Costas moving to his left. Can't get there in time. That'll get down and go for extra bases. It rolls out of play just to the right of the right field foul pole. And so Decolati will be in the second base with a ground rule double. And the score is tied as Heron scores from second and it's a 1-1 ball game here at Eldridge Park.
Yeah, how about that for some English on that baseball? Just skipped over into the fourth row of lawn chairs out there in right field, but a terrific piece of hitting. That's the second time we've seen somebody drive a baseball down the right field line. I mean, that's exactly what Costas did when he was able to drive in a run. So 2 RBI doubles down the right field line. I mean, what are the odds?
And it's amazing. It's by both teams' right fielders, too. So
That's
they're
true.
hitting it to each other. Playing a little, pickle or tennis out there. 1 down here in the bottom of the first inning. Nico Decolati leading off of second base. First pitch from Davis Daniel. Fastball that misses high to Cesar Salazar. One of the most interesting names in the Cape League by far. We here on the Whitecaps have Cesar Trejo, and then we've seen guys be Cesar. No, it's Cesar. So, hey, whatever floats your fastball there from Daniel, right on the inner corner. Evens the count at 1-1 to Salazar.
And this is an important hitter for Daniel. I mentioned before how Orleans has made a habit of jumping on teams early their past few games. Brewster doesn't want to keep that trend going here if they want to snap this winning streak.
Daniel comes set. And the pitch. This one lifted in the air out to right field. Charging is Marty Costas. It's the second baseman Smith calling him off. And he'll make the catch in shallow right field for out number 2. So it was hit, as they like to say, a big league pop-up, hit a mile in the air, but Connor Smith able to make the play for out number 2.
Yeah, nice job. I remember when we were talking about opening night here, Aiden, when the pop flies were a little bit harder to navigate. Everybody's teammates were new, and now we're in the portion of the season where we're starting to see a regular rotation. Guys are starting to gel, and those pop flyers are going a little bit more smoothly, although we did see a miscue from Brewster yesterday against Hyannis.
That'll bring up the number 5 hitter, Steven Scott, for the Firebirds. First pitch from Davis Daniel. This is high and outside for ball 1. Scott out of Vanderbilt University, batting .270 in his first 13 games for Orleans. Does have 2 home runs and 9 RBI. As the 1-0 from Daniel. Another fastball. This one misses off the plate. 2-0 now the count on Scott. So we go from Cesar Salazar to Steven Scott. Still, sound-wise alliteration, but much more, I don't want to say plain, but conventional names. 2-0 from Daniel. Hit on the ground to second base. Fielded on a hop by Smith. Throw on to first in plenty of time for out number 3. But the Orleans Firebirds tie it at 1. It comes on a Nico Decolati double to right field. They get 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, 1 left on base. We've played an inning here at Eldridge Park in Orleans. Scores tied 1-1 between the Whitecaps and Firebirds. Keep it right here. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network. Moving to the top of the second here at Eldridge Park in Orleans, it'll be Michael Curry, Hunter Bishop, and Devin Foyle. 7, 8, 9 in the Whitecaps order due up. 1-1 the score here, as the Orleans Firebirds tied it on a Nico Decolati double in the bottom of the first. First pitch to Curry, fastball right on the outer corner. Curry didn't like it, but in there for strike 1. Curry on the year, another guy who certainly works the count, draws his walks, like we mentioned earlier. Second on the team to Mickey Gasper in walks. 0-1 pitch from Rollison, misses down and in, evens the count at 1-1. Curry, the designated hitter out of the University of Georgia, batting .294 in 34 at-bats for the Whitecaps this year. Got 5 runs scored, still looking for his first home run. And he ropes this one in between short and third. Oh, diving stop by the third baseman. Groshans throw onto first in time. What a play there by Jax Groshans at third base for Orleans.
Yeah, terrific stop. Moving to his left, I think you and I both thought that had a date with left field. Hard hit off the bat of Michael Curry, who always hits him hard, it seems, especially when he pulls into the left side. Kind of robbed of a hit there.
Yeah, he really got all of it. Hit it off the barrel, just a rocket, and Groshans sliding to his left, able to pick it on a hop, and a strong throw over to first for out number 1. Now Hunter Bishop steps in for the Whitecaps. First pitch swinging, fouls it off behind home plate. So an 0-1 count on the Whitecaps center fielder. 1-1 the score here in Orleans, all tied up between the Whitecaps and Firebirds. Marty Costas with an RBI double for Brewster. Nico Decolati with an RBI double for Orleans. And the 0-1 pitch to Bishop misses in the dirt. Count evens 1 ball and 1 strike from Ryan Roslin. Lefty-lefty matchup here. 1-1 breaking ball, cut on and miss from Bishop. Count moves to 1-2.
Got a few swings and misses from that breaking ball, has Rollison so far. Remember, he got Gehagen swinging with that for strike 3 in the first frame.
1-2 count, goes back to the breaking ball. Bishop gets a piece of it this time, stays alive. Bishop, one of the more highly touted Whitecaps coming into this 2017 season. Off to a bit of a rough start, though, in a Brewster uniform, batting just .188. And looks at a breaking ball there from Rollison in there for strike 3. Painted the inside corner, and Bishop down looking for out number 2.
Yeah, when you can throw that breaking ball in the dirt for swings and misses and get it in there for strikes, it's tough for a hitter like Bishop to come in and face that, especially lefty to lefty when you don't have as much time to see the baseball.
And now the number 9 hitter, Devin Foyle, switch hitter out of the University of Kansas, steps in. First pitch from fastball from Rollison, misses off the plate for ball 1. Foyle getting the start in left field today for the Whitecaps. Batting right-handed against the left-handed starter for Orleans. He chops this one foul down the third baseline. So the count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. Foyle originally from Fountain Hills, Arizona. Another Brewster outfielder who's off to a bit of a rough start, as Rollison misses very high above the letters. 2-1 now the count on Foyle. Foyle batting .172 in his first 12 games. Does have good speed, though. And a breaking ball there from Rollison misses off the plate. 3-1 now the count on the Brewster left fielder. Wind shifting now to blowing in from right field as Rollison threw the windup. And this one hit in the air out to right center field. Moving to his right is the right fielder Decolati. Battling the wind a bit, but he gets underneath it and puts it away for out number 3. So the Whitecaps go down in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. After 1.5 in Orleans, still knotted at 1 between the Whitecaps and Firebirds. Keep it right here. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network. 6-7-8 due up for the Orleans Firebirds here in the bottom of the second inning. It'll be Brandon Riley leading things off for Orleans. 1-1 the score between Brewster and Orleans at Eldridge Park. And the first pitch from Davis Daniel, a fastball over the outer corner for strike one. Riley batting .292 in his first 14 games for Orleans, as Daniel skips one home for ball one. Neither pitcher tonight so far, Carter, really having an incredible amount of success with their control, with their command. 1-1 count to Riley, and the pitch from Daniel. Fastball misses below the knees. 2-1 now the count on the Orleans center fielder.
Yeah, that was one of the more interesting things that I was looking forward to seeing from Davis Daniel, is how, especially over the course of the start as he gets through the second time through the lineup, how that command goes.
This one lined on the ground towards shortstop, and it's under the glove of A.J. Graffinino and into left field. You got to believe that one will be scored an E6, and so the leadoff man aboard for the Firebirds here in the bottom of the second.
That's tough. I'm sure Jamie Shevchik isn't happy to see that again. You know, it kind of sounds like we're a broken record when we're talking about Jamie Shevchik's field. His defense, he keeps saying that it needs to improve. They need to stop giving up unearned runs, and right there, a kind of, dare I say, an unearned runner. Does that make sense on running on the base right now, if that is indeed scored in E6?
And it is, so it will be an error on Graffinino. And now the Orleans number 7 hitter, Jax Groshan, steps in. Fastball there from Daniel, just misses off the outside corner for ball one. Groshan's getting the start at third base tonight for the Orleans Firebirds. Listed as a catcher on their roster out of the University of Kansas, so he's a teammate of Devin Foyles. 1-0 count, and the pitch from Daniel. This fastball finds the zone, evens the count at 1-1 strike. Groshan's originally out of Magnolia, Texas, batting .265 on the season for Orleans. As Daniel, working from the stretch, comes set, and the 1-1 pitch. Off speed there, misses just below the knees. Now 2-1 on the Orleans third baseman. Brandon Riley leads off of first for the Firebirds. Davis Daniel comes set, and the pitch runner goes. Fastball misses low. Throw from Gasper, not in time, as Brandon Riley swipes second. And the leadoff man in the inning for the Firebirds is now in scoring position with nobody down.
Another stolen base given up here by Brewster for Riley, able to continue his ways here. That's just the first stolen base in his first attempt on the season, so able to break through here in game number 15 for him on the year for the Firebirds.
And now the chance for Jax Groshans to give the Firebirds the lead, with Riley leading off second in scoring position. Nobody out here in the bottom of the second. And a fastball there from Daniel just blew it right past him for strike number 2, so the count runs full on Groshans. Righty-righty matchup here between Daniel and Groshans. Number 8 hitter Lars Nootbaar waits on deck for Orleans. Daniel comes set, looks back towards second, and the payoff pitch. Fastball fouled back and out of play, so Groshans will stay alive. It's an Orleans team with, we've talked about their statistical prowess, number 1 in runs, number 1 in ERA, number 1 in fielding percentage. They've got some names that are just incredible too. I mean, they're on top of the names leaderboard as well. Payoff pitch from Daniel. Breaking ball misses outside for ball 4. And so the first 2 hitters of the inning for Orleans have reached base. One on an E6, and then Groshan's there on a walk. And so the Whitecaps now in a bit of a jam. 2 runners on for the Firebirds and nobody out here in the bottom of the second.
Yeah, it's we only saw 2 walks in the first time that Davis Daniel was able to take the mound for Brewster, but command is still important for him, because he's got to make sure to set up all of his other pitches.
Now Lars Nootbaar digs in. First pitch swinging. Ground ball to first, fielded by Gahagan. Throw on to second in time. Throw back to the Daniels covering first in time. So a double play. Pitcher's best friend there. It goes 3-6-1. And now, just like that, there are 2 down here in the bottom of the second inning, but Riley advances to third on the play, and the number 9 hitter, Jeff Hotby, coming to the bat.
Pitcher's best friend indeed there. Nice job by Gahagan to stay poised, and Graffinino using those quick hands over at second base to flip it back. Brewster had a few double plays go their way yesterday, if my memory serves me correctly.
Number 9 hitter Jeff Hotby digs in for Orleans. First pitch from Daniel, breaking ball, cut on and miss for strike 1. Hotby, a left-handed hitting shortstop out of the University of San Diego, more known for his defense than his offense. It's the 0-1 breaking ball there from Daniel, misses down and in. 1-1 the count. Hotby off to a 195 start for Orleans. Has already struck out 13 times, which is the 3rd most on the team, as Daniel misses down and away with a fastball. So a 2-1 count now on the number 9 hitter Hotby. Runner on third for Orleans, Brandon Riley leads off of third base, just 90 feet away. And a 2-1 off-speed pitch there from Daniel, misses below the knees, and now it's 3-1 on Hotby. This is not a situation in which Coach Shevchik wants Davis Daniel to walk the number 9 hitter.
Yeah, keep falling behind in counts here early on. It's tough for him to get back into him.
3-1 pitch. This one lifted in the air down the third base line, but slicing foul, and so the count runs full on Hotby.
Daniel's one of those guys where sometimes you want to keep a tally, see how many times he's able to throw strike 1 against hitters. Because once he gets ahead in the count, he has the stuff to put a guy away. But so far, it's been tough for him to get himself in the right spots.
Now he'll take his foot off the rubber and now re-toe it. Just need a little instance there to gather himself. And the payoff pitch. Breaking ball lifted in the air in the infield. It's the second baseman Smith calling for it. And he puts it away just to the right of second base for out number 3. So the Whitecaps strand a runner at third, and we've played 2 here at Eldridge Park. Still 1-1 between the Whitecaps and the Firebirds. Keep it locked in. You're listening to the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network. Back to the top of the order for the Brewster Whitecaps as we move to the top of the 3rd inning. It'll be Connor Smith, Kyle Daughtris, and Mickey Gasper against the Orleans starter Ryan Rollison. 1-1 the score here at Eldridge Park between the Firebirds and Whitecaps. First pitch from Rollison to Smith, a fastball on the inner corner for strike 1. Smith walked in his first plate appearance and would come around to score on the Marty Costas double as he grounds this one towards second, fielded on a hop by Ethan Paul. Throw on to first in time for out number 1.
That's I think the right attitude there for Rollison on the mound against Connor Smith, a guy that has such good plate discipline, but still has yet to find his first extra base hit of the season. You would think the pitchers would start being more aggressive, pounding the zone, trying to get soft contact like that.
So that'll bring up Kyle Daughtris, right-handed hitting third baseman out of North Carolina. He's 1 for 1 today, singled to left in his first at-bat. And the first pitch from Rollison, a breaking ball that finds the zone for strike 1. Daughtris continues to be a reliable figure on this Whitecaps team, both offensively and defensively. as the fastball from Rollison just paints the inner corner, and the count moves to 0-2 on Daughtris. He's not going to blow you away with any box score numbers, but you can always, like you mentioned before, Carter, reliable glove in the infield as he lifts this one foul out of play down the right field line, so stays alive. Count remains 0-2. And, he's not going to bat .350 for you or anything, but he's a rather consistent figure in that Whitecaps lineup. You know what you're going to get.
And it reminds me of Julian Infante coming down to camp. He's going to be down here in the next couple of days since the home run derby is now finished.
And the pitch from Rollison. Off speed, misses high above the letters. Count evens at 2-2.
Maybe not that they're exactly similar players, but because I think Jamie Shevchik wants them in to play a similar role, to kind of steady out the infield, which has been a little turbulent this season.
And the pitch from Rollison, breaking ball, cut on and missed. Daughtris got a piece of it, but Salzar able to hang on, so Daughtris goes down swinging. And just like that, first two batters of the inning retired for the Whitecaps.
Well, that breaking ball, I think, is fair to say is on. That's the fourth strikeout for Rollison in this game, and the previous three, including that one, had all come via that breaking ball. So far, the Brewster hitters, and that was, the second time through the lineup against Daughtris, just not able to connect.
And now the first pitch to Mickey Gasper, a fastball that misses above the letters for ball one. Seems to be Rollison's best pitch. He's had trouble commanding that fastball early on.
Right.
And had to rely on that breaking ball. 1-0 count to Gasper. Goes back to the fastball. This one paints the inner edge. Count evens 1 ball and 1 strike.
And what Brewster may be worried about is if he comes in and starts getting that fastball command, because then when you're able to get ahead in the count, now the hitter's got to protect the plate and you drop the breaking ball on him. It can be tough.
1-1 pitch to Mickey Gasper. Third consecutive fastball. This one on outer corner. Now 1-2 on the Brewster catcher.
And so that's where we're at right now. Gasper's behind in the count, as you said, 3 straight fastballs. This is where you would think he'd uncork the breaking ball here, but Gasper's got tremendous plate discipline.
1-2 count, and goes to the breaking ball, cut on and missed. Gasper chased one low in the dirt, and he goes down swinging. So that is Ryan Rollison's 5th strikeout of the game so far through 3 innings. We've played 2.5 here at Eldridge Park, 1-1 the score between the Whitecaps and Firebirds.
Do you know what that sound is? That's your new marketing department. And that'll be your new web designer. And that's Haibu, where these experts are joined by many more, from web designers to search marketing specialists, who work hard to get your business noticed online and on mobile. Best of all, Haibu can do it all for you, or give you the tools to do it yourself. To find out more, go to haibu.com. That's HIBU.com, or call 855-464-HIBU. Oh, that'll be your next new customer. Haibu, made for business.
Moving to the bottom of the third inning here at Eldridge Park, it'll be the top of the order for the Orleans Firebirds. Still tied at 1 between the Firebirds and the Whitecaps. For those of you just joining us, Aiden Doyle here alongside Carter Woodeel. Another edition of Brewster Whitecaps baseball as the first pitch from Davis Daniel, a fastball over the outer corner for strike 1 to the Orleans leadoff man Jimmy Herron. Herron singled in his first at-bat with score as he lifts this one foul over the netting behind home plate. Now the count 0-2 from Daniel. Herron singled, then stole second, and would come home to on a Nico Decolati ground rule double to right field. 0-2 pitch from Daniel. Breaking ball. Herron just got a piece of it. Chased that one low, but a good job staying alive, so the count stays 0-2. Daniel through the windup and the 0-2 pitch. Another breaking ball cut on foul. This one chopped right towards the Whitecaps dugout, right towards bench coach Tommy Weber, who just got out of the way. Almost looked like he knocked that one away with his hand, saying, "No, don't hit me." As Daniel looks into the catcher, Mickey Gasper. Now through the windup and the 0-2. This one looped into center field, charging as a center fielder Bishop, and that one will fall for a base hit. No one's covering second, so Herron thought about going, but Zach Hagen got there in time to hold Herron to a single. But that one down in the zone, just kind of threw the bat at it, got it off the end of the bat, and looped it into center field into no man's land.
Yeah, I think Jimmy Herron has gotten a couple lucky plays to go his way. That was a little Bermuda Triangle play out there in center field. A good job by Gahagan, as you said, to go cover second base. That could have been a scary play, a scary prospect for your top-of-the-order hitter coming and trying to steal second on a play. That really was just, as you said, Aiden, just a little jam shot blooper. Now
Ethan Paul steps in for the Firebirds. First pitch from Daniel. A fastball lifted right over our heads and foul. So the count 0-1 on the left-handed hitting second baseman out of Vanderbilt. 1-1 score here at Eldridge Park between the Whitecaps and Firebirds. Brewster starter Davis Daniel still on the mound. And now he'll check on Jimmy Herron at first base, who dives back safely. 0-1 count to Ethan Paul. He's 0 for 1 on his day. Popped out to the shortstop Graffinino in his first at-bat. As Daniel now comes set and throws back over to first base as Herron once again dives back safely. Herron with good speed over there at first base. We saw him use it in the first inning as he swiped second. He's got 5 stolen bases on the year and 6 stolen bases now in 7 tries. And the pitch from Daniel, fastball misses high for ball 1. Count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. Daniel so far working rather quickly. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning here, just under an hour into this ball game, as Daniel once again throws over to first base. I guess trying to prove me wrong and slow down the pace of this game, Carter.
It does look like Davis Daniels working. I think we maybe saw this in his first start, too. He's kind of slowing things down a bit when he's pitching out of the stretch as opposed to out of the windup so far.
And the 1-1 count. Breaking ball, cut on and miss from Ethan Paul. Chased that one down in the zone, so the count moves to 1-2.
But we've been seeing a lot of swings and misses on off-speed stuff today, haven't we, from both sides?
Yeah, the only real fastball that I can remember someone swinging and missing on was Davis Daniel fastball to start off a count, I believe, to Nootbaar. 1-2 count and the pitch from Daniel. Fastball fouled straight back, and Paul will stay alive.
Very nearly got your second one right there, Aiden. Just barely got a piece.
Nobody out here in the bottom of the 3rd. Jimmy Herron leads off of first base for the Firebirds. Ethan Paul at the plate. 0-2 count as Davis Daniel comes set, and the pitch runner goes. This one lifted in the air over the Whitecaps dugout and out of play, so Paul once again stays alive. Nico Decolotti, responsible for the only run driven in so far for the Firebirds, waits on deck. His double to right scored. Jimmy Herron, who leads off of first base currently for Orleans. Now he's back in the bottom of the 1st inning. And the pitch, breaking ball, runner goes, throw down to second, is not in time. And so Jimmy Herron swipes his 2nd stolen base of the evening, and the Orleans Firebirds have a runner in scoring position with nobody out here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Well, they say speed kills. That's a terrific way to try and scrape across a run here. As for so far, it looks like Brewster has been able to hold Orleans' bats in check, but as you said, a runner in scoring position.
2-2 count. Breaking ball hit on the ground in between first and second and into right field. They're waving home Herron, and Costas will not make a throw home, so the Firebirds take a 2-1 lead on an Ethan Paul RBI single to right field. It wasn't the hardest hit ball, but that benefited the Firebirds as it allowed Herron to score from second, and it's a 2-1 Orleans lead.
Yeah, we got a bloop single from Herron, and then A little seeing eye ground ball through to the right side from Ethan Paul, but that's baseball. They'll take runs wherever you can get it, and New Orleans is able to get him there.
And now the number 3 hitter, Nico Decalotti, digs in for the Firebirds. Decalotti 1 for 1, as we mentioned, with a RBI double to right field. And the first pitch from Daniel, a fastball right on the outer corner for strike 1. Decalotti, the right fielder out of Loyola Marymount, listed at 6'1", 215 pounds. Right-handed batter, and the 0-1 pitch from Daniel, fastball, lined foul just to the right of the Firebirds dugout. So the count now 0-2 on Decalotti. Ethan Paul leading off of first base. Davis Daniel working from the stretch, now comes set, and the pitch, fastball, cut on and missed. And Decalotti down swinging for out number 1 here in the bottom of the third.
Well, there's our swing and miss on the fastball for strike 3. That's the first strikeout all game from Davis Daniel, able to use the fastball to get it by him. So a little bit of a backwards at bat there for Daniel, using the off-speed stuff to set up the fastball. But whatever works, I mean, no matter what with Daniel, it's about effectively changing speeds. And, of course, you have to have good command if you're going to pitch like that. And so far, it's been a little up and down for him in this start, kind of as it was the last time he came out on the mound for Brewster.
Cesar Salazar digs in. First pitch swinging at a breaking ball from Daniel. Chases it down low for strike 1. Salazar, the catcher out of the University of Arizona, originally from Tucson, so decided to stay not only in his home state but in his hometown and play for Coach Jay Johnson at Arizona, one of the Wildcats. 0-1 count. Daniel kicks and delivers this one, roped up the middle and into center field for a base hit. It was roped, so Salazar will hold at, or excuse me, Paul will hold at second. Salazar aboard with a 1-out single.
And we've seen 3 singles so far in this inning. That clearly the hardest hit one of the bunch. Rope is a great way to describe it, Aiden, just right back where it came from. That's when you know you got great timing on a baseball.
And now the number 5 hitter, Steven Scott, digs in for the Firebirds. He's 0 for 1 today, grounded out to second base to end the first inning. But a big spot for him here with 1 down and runners on first and second for Orleans. Daniel from the stretch. Off-speed pitch misses outside for ball 1. Scott, one of the Vanderbilt Commodores, teammates with Julian Infante, who will be, like you mentioned, Carter, joining the Whitecaps in a couple of days. May even see him in tomorrow's lineup. And pitch from Daniel, breaking ball right on the inner corner for a strike.
Yeah, it's got to be exciting for Jamie Shevchik and for Whitecaps fans. We've heard a lot about this guy, Julian Infante, coming in off after the home run derby appearance.
And a great year for Vanderbilt this year. 1-1 pitch from Daniel, misses outside. 2-1 now the count on Steven Scott. Even though Vanderbilt, I think as a team, didn't necessarily have the season that they had hoped for, Infante individually, I can pretty confidently say, was happy with his personal achievements. Daniel misses below the knees with a fastball. And so now the count is 3-1 on Scott.
Yeah, very unusual season for Vanderbilt. They couldn't figure it out at the beginning of the year, then wound up heading to the Supers.
3-1 count. Daniel from the stretch. Fastball lifted in the air down the left field line. It's slicing foul and will get out of play. So now the count runs full on Scott. Scott, a left-handed batter against the right-handed throwing Daniel. As the wind continues to blow in from right center field here at Eldridge Park. 314 down the right field line. 310 down the left field line. And to make up for that, 434 feet to dead center. Pitch from Daniel misses high and outside, and Scott will head on down to first base with a walk. So that'll load the bases for Brandon Riley here with 1 out. in the bottom of the third.
And again, it feels like the Firebirds are poised for one of those big innings that we've seen from them throughout this 7-game winning streak that they're on. Mickey Gasper and Zach Gahagan, two of the leaders of this club in the clubhouse, coming out to talk to Davis Daniel right now.
And now Gahagan will retreat back to first base. Gasper to behind home plate. And Orleans had a couple of big innings last night in their just blowout victory over the Harbor Hawks, 17-3 the final. They scored 6 runs in the second inning, 4 in the ninth. They had a 3-run first and 2 runs in the third and the fifth. And the first pitch from Daniel to Brandon Riley, a breaking ball in there for strike one. Riley today 0 for 1, reached on an error by the shortstop Graffinino in his first at-bat, then stole second. 0-1 pitch, lifted in the air out towards right field, moving back into his right is Marty Costas. He's there to make the catch. The throw will come into third base, and it will be not be in time. So Paul scores on the sacrifice fly. Salazar moves to third, and Scott to second, and now it's a 3-1 Orleans lead.
And Riley, you know, we come up with the bases loaded and 1 out. You're thinking, okay, bases clearing double or a big liner down the line. He was able to just lift the sacrifice fly up, but that still gets the job done. It gives Orleans another run. Now 2 in misframe, doubles the advantage, and keeps line moving second and third now.
2 runners in scoring position for the Firebirds for Jax Groshans. He walked in his first plate appearance back in the bottom of the second inning. And now with 2 down, has a chance to add at least 1 run to this Firebirds lead as Davis Daniel misses inside with a fastball for ball 1. Salazar leads off of third, Scott off of second, and now time will be called. Looks like some communication there between Mickey Gasper and the Whitecaps bench. Not really sure what that was
Yeah, the
about.
umpires talking to each other from across the diamond. Well, it looks like we're ready to go again.
So Groshans digs back in. 1-0 count. Daniel's pitch. Fastball just misses below the knees. Daniel wanted that one, and now it's 2-0 on Groshans.
A good effort from Gasper behind the plate to try and frame that. Give him a chance at getting that call. No dice from Jeff January behind the plate.
Daniel comes set, and the 2-0. Fastball once again misses below the knees, and it's 3-0 on Groshans. Groshans walked, like I mentioned, in his first plate appearance, and now on his way possibly to a second walk, ahead in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. As Davis Daniels pitch, lined in between first and second, diving try by Smith, but it's into right field, and 2 runs will score for the Firebirds. And just like that, it's a big inning, like you mentioned, Carter, for Orleans, and it's a 5-1 Firebirds lead.
Well, this is what the Firebirds have been doing all year long. They've just been able to keep the line moving, especially during this 7-game winning streak, as looks like Austin Straub's going to go and talk to Davis Daniel on the mound here for Brewster. And that's the sort of thing that they do. I mean, there weren't any, we haven't seen an extra base hit in this inning, and 5 runs have come across. It's been singles, it's been walks. They've been able to just push the run across by keeping the line moving, and that's what these Orleans Firebirds have done all year. It's what makes those statistics that you were talking about at the top of the broadcast look so sparkling.
Yeah, coming into this game, Orleans ranking first in the Cape League in runs, first in ERA, and first in fielding percentage. So you really can't ask for much more if you're Coach Kelly Nicholson of the Firebirds. And now Straub will retreat back to the Whitecaps dugout. Mickey Gasper back to behind home plate. 2 down here in the bottom of the third inning. Jax Groshans leading off of first base for the Firebirds. 5-1 the score. Orleans on top of Brewster. As Davis Daniel comes set, and the pitch. Fastball finds the zone to Nootbaar for strike 1. Daniel working from the stretch. Set and the 0-1. Another fastball that finds the zone, and so Daniel quickly ahead in the count 0-2. Nootbaar grounded into a double play in his first at-bat, 3-6-1. Gahagan to Graffinino, back to Daniel. That was a big play for the Whitecaps, and he lines this one right to the shortstop Graffinino, who makes the play for out number 3. But the Firebirds put up a 4 spot in the bottom of the 3rd inning. They lead this one 5-1. Those runs, 4 runs on 5 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on. We've played 3 here at Eldridge Park in Orleans. 5-1, Firebirds on top of the Whitecaps. Keep it right here. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all that they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochem, and software development online at curry.edu. The first pitch is a strike in there at the knees to Marty Costas. We are starting the top of the 4th inning here at Eldridge Park. The score, Orleans 5, Brewster 1. It's been another big inning for the Firebirds as the pitch to the righty Costas is hit high in the air toward foul ground on the right side, and that will make the fans over there on the hill or perhaps go over by the concession stand out there. And that makes the count no ball and 2 strikes on Costas, who doubled in the only Whitecaps run of the ball game in the 1st inning. And the pitch from a lefty Rollison just misses on an off-speed pitch to make the count 1-2. As Jeff January not given the 3rd strike there. Looks like that might have just gone around the zone. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to the righty. Check swing, and he went around, so says Jeff January behind the plate on a pitch that was in the dirt. So again, that breaking ball fooling another Whitecap hitter. That is strikeout number 6 for Rollison and his 3rd in as many hitters. There's 1 gone.
Yeah, Coach Shevchik has preached this team to communicate, they use the word participate more in the game. Talk to your teammates, give them information that could be helpful down the road in their own at-bats or out on the field. And they've talked, you can see it out here on the field. They're talking about this breaking ball. They come back and talk to the on-deck guy.
The righty Gahagan takes a strike.
As, you know, what does it look like up at the plate? And it's just so far, none of them have been able to figure out, no matter how much they talk.
Yeah, I think that's something that's impressive here. The 2nd time through the lineup, it seems like they're just as fooled. Here's the next pitch to Gahagan. He misses high on a fastball to make the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Gahagan in his first at-bat was a, shall we say, a breaking ball victim. Swung and missed. That was the 2nd strikeout for Rollison on the game, and there's a breaking ball in there for a strike at the knees to make the count 1 ball and 2 strikes now on the North Carolina Tar Heel back at first base for the Whitecaps in this ball game. Rollison standing in, getting the sign from Salazar behind the dish. Here's the 1-2. Fastball in there for a called strike 3 inside corner. Gahagan didn't like the strike 3 call as he moved just a bit out of the way to avoid that pitch, but it winds up catching the inside corner in the judgment of Jeff January. So a fastball for strike 3, and it's now 4 Ks in a row for Ryan Rollison.
Yeah, and that one, like you mentioned, Carter, with a fastball. So just as the Whitecaps are expecting this breaking ball, this mysterious, incredible breaking ball from Ryan Rollison, he switches it up on him and gets him with a fastball.
So here's the pitch is in there for a strike on a breaking ball to Graffinino, hitting from the left side. against the lefty Rollison, who is just dialed in right now. Ever since that Costas double in the first inning, no base runners for Brewster, and that one's hit hard right to the second baseman, Paul, who makes the grab on the line drive off the bat of Graffinino to retire his side in the fourth inning. So that makes 11 straight sent down in order by Rollison in this ball game. The Whitecaps go down 1-2-3 in the top of the fourth. We're through 3.5. It's 5-1 Orleans. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod healthcare locations in Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends, staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgent care. We're in the bottom of the fourth inning, and the first pitch is fouled away off the bat of the Orleans leadoff hitter Hope, the 9-hitting shortstop, standing in from the left side against the righty pitcher Davis Daniel. It is 5-1 Firebirds here in the bottom of the fourth. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Misses outside to make the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Brewster sent out an order in that top of the fourth inning. The Whitecaps offense has been shut down early on by Rollison, and Daniel deals. It's in there for a strikeout and needs to make the count 1-2. So far, Daniel has not had the command that Rollison has had tonight. It's kind of just been feast or famine for him, especially with that fastball. But that last pitch was well located at the knees to get him ahead in the count. Here comes the 1-2. Misses low on another fastball.
And yet, Daniel so far, 45 strikes, 30 balls. But when he's throwing those strikes, this Orleans team is hitting them hard.
2-2 pitch is hit on the ground to first base. Fielded there by Gahagan. He scoops it up and will run to the bag himself and get there in time for out number 1 here in the bottom of the fourth.
So it's really been a lose-lose for Daniel because they're doing a very good job laying off of his off-speed pitches that are just missing the zone. So he's throwing a pretty good amount of balls, and they're laying off those, but then when they find that pitch to drive, they're doing it, they're executing it.
Do you think some of that is scouting report and game plan for these guys?
And again, when you look at it, though, second time through the order, that's when they're doing their damage.
Yep, good point. Third time through the order now as the top of the order comes back up, and Jimmy Herron, who takes a strike on the inside corner to make the count 0-1. Herron has a pair of singles, a pair of stolen bases, and a pair of runs scored today. Here comes the pitch. It's low. Those are in the first and third innings. It looks exactly identical on the scorecard. One of those odd coincidences in baseball. So far, as here comes the pitch to the right-hander, it gets past Jasper behind the plate and rolls to the backstop. So the count now 2-1 on Herron, who so far has fulfilled the role of a leadoff hitter to a T for Orleans in this ball game and for the season as a whole. Here comes the pitch. It's swung on and missed on a fastball that was up. Tried to chase it there, did Herron. That makes the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. That was probably one of the liveliest fastballs we've seen so far from Davis Daniel in this ball game. Just ran it up there. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball hit high in the air into center field. Moving back a couple of steps is Bishop. He's under it now and comes in a bit and makes the catch for out number 2. That breaking ball looked like it was left in the zone, but just getting under it was Jimmy Herron. So there are 2 gone here in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Yeah, I think Daniel got away with one there. Just kind of hung that breaking ball to a guy who we've seen, obviously with a 2-for-2 start before that at bat, drive the ball as well. And here with a shallow left field porch at Eldridge Park, not exactly the ideal game plan is to hang a breaking ball to a right-handed batter.
So here comes Ethan Paul, and Paul hits this one hard out to left field. That one's heading over toward the left field line, and it's going to land in the left field corner for a no. It's going to be just foul. Boy, that one was just foul. It must have been just a couple of feet away from a left field line. Ethan Paul was rounding first base thinking he was able to get a double on that play, but it just does miss out on fair ground. So he'll have to get back in the batter's box here with the count 0-1.
And when you look at this field, the wind blowing in from right center, so a ball hit down that left field line is going to be blown towards the foul line. And there, I think, was a prime case of it there. Just when he coming off the bat, it was fair by a pretty good amount too, and the wind just kind of took it. Obviously, it's slicing away regardless, but the wind just added to that, and it dropped a couple feet foul.
0-1 pitch misses low to make the count 1-1 on Ethan Paul, who has a pop fly and an RBI single to his name today. It is 5-1 Firebirds. We're in the fourth inning, bottom half. Here comes the pitch. Another one that misses low. Looked like the same pitch as before on a fastball. Below the knees. 2-1 now the count on Ethan Paul, who digs in again from the left side. Paul hailing from Bellevue, Washington. The pitch is hit hard into left center field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Running over to cut it off is the center fielder Bishop, and he will hold Paul to a single. Another hard hit baseball off the bat of a Firebirds hitter with Daniel on the mound, and Paul reaches with his second single of the night.
This Firebirds lineup from just top to bottom is just filled with guys who can do damage. Heron and Paul at the top, and then you get down to Brandon Riley. Had an unbelievable year this year for UNC, and is a very, very good hitter. And he's hitting in the 6th spot for this Orleans team. Just a stacked Firebirds lineup.
And they have been living up to all those accolades you gave him so far, Aiden. The pitch is swung on and hit hard off the bat of the right-handed hitting Nico Decolati. Stepping on second for the force play is the Brewster second baseman Smith to retire his side. Smith was able to scoop that one up and just get the fielder's choice himself. So that's a rare 4 unassisted fielder's choice to end things in the fourth inning. For the Firebirds, they don't score in the fourth. They do get 1 hit and leave a runner on. We're through 4 innings of play, 5-1 Orleans. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. The Beach House Grill at Chatham Bar Zim Resort and Spa is the perfect spot for a seaside lunch or evening clam bake, a proud member of leading hotels of the world. The 7, 8, and 9 hitters are due up for Brewster as we start the top of inning number 5. As it's been just a terrific outing so far here for Ryan Rollison, who returns to the mound, the righty out of the University of Mississippi, an Ole Miss Rebel. He has 7 strikeouts to his name, has not allowed a base runner since the RBI double from Costas in the first inning. 11 straight retired. And here's the pitch to Curry, who takes a fastball, just misses for ball 1. Curry hit a ground ball to the left side that was nicely scooped up by the third baseman Groshans for his first at-bat. The pitch misses down and in. So ahead in the count here, 2-0 is the DH from Georgia. Michael Curry had, as here comes the 2-0 pitch. Misses low again, 3-0 now. We were both in Brewster earlier today, Aiden, for batting practice. That the Whitecaps had their batting practice in Brewster before they came out here, and Curry had a terrific day in BP. 3-0 pitch, misses low for ball 4. So Curry advances via a walk, and the string of batters retired has ended for Rollison. The leadoff runner is aboard on the base on balls from Curry.
And now there are 2 Whitecaps with double-digit walks on the year. That's Curry's 10th. He joins Mickey Gasper in that exclusive club. Gasper still leads with 13, though.
Whitecaps have more walks than any other team in the league. It's been one of the constant presences in this lineup as Hunter Bishop, the lefty, digs in against the lefty Rollison and takes a fastball for strike 1. Obviously, there are some exceptions, Marty Costas among them, but primarily these hitters know the strike zone in this Brewster lineup. Though they've been having trouble turning that knowledge of the zone into hard-hit baseballs. Here's the pitch to Bishop, and that just misses low on another fastball from Rollison, as Salazar did his best to frame it behind the plate, but no dice from Jeff January, the home plate umpire. So 1 ball and 1 strike on the outfielder from Arizona State. Holding the set is Rollison, and he deals. Swing and a miss. Got him off speed there. Out in front of that one was Hunter Bishop. Makes the count 0-2, or 1-2, excuse me, with Curry aboard at first base and still nobody out. It's a 5-1 Firebirds lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning on a gorgeous night at Eldridge Park. The pitch. Swing and a miss, he got him. That's a fastball that retires Hunter Bishop. So back-to-back, the last 2 strikeouts from Rollison have come via the heater. It's now 8 for the game for Ryan Rollison, who is just locked in right now.
Yeah, he's looking excellent out there on the mound. Early on, had trouble commanding that fastball, but it seems like he's really found his groove there with the heater, and he's commanding it well, locating it not only down the middle, but right on the corners.
Devin Foyle takes the pitch down and in to start his at-bat off as the count is 1-0.
And we're getting word that it's Paulie Milto warming in the bullpen for the Brewster Whitecaps. It would be his 2nd appearance in a row if he were to come in, and 3rd since Wednesday.
And the pitch is just a half swing there from Devin Foyle on a pitch that was up, couldn't hold up on it. So that evens the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. It is interesting that Milto is warming. Maybe like the guy that I would have given you if I were to guess at who Jamie Shevchik was going to call on in this spot. 1-1 pitch to the righty. It's swung on and just fouled in the glove of the catcher Salazar. And Foyle behind him to count 1-2. You have to feel like this is a big game for Foyle. A couple of new imports coming onto this team shortly. Julian Infante, Bo Jordan. 1-2 the count. Pitch to the righty. In there, called. Strike 3 at the knees on a fastball. So back-to-back Ks for Ryan Rollison. Now 9 for the game, and Foyle is sent down.
And frankly, these Whitecaps hitters up there just look helpless against Ryan Rollison right now. Not only have we seen him just snap off that breaking ball and get not only swings and misses, but command it for strikes, but that fastball, since we talked about it earlier, it would be a worrying sign.
Pitch to the righty. Smith is low.
For these Whitecaps hitters if he gained some fastball control, because he was pitching from behind earlier, and it was easier to sit on that breaking ball. Now with that fastball command, he's looked extremely effective.
1-0 pitch is foul back, and if my memory serves me correctly, those 2 strikeouts, he didn't get strike 1 to Bishop or Foyle, and didn't get one to Smith here, as the count is now 1-1 after the foul ball, and still able to come back and use that command to get the K. It's been impressive on the mound for Rollison in this ball game. The 1-1 pitch to Smith is an off-speed pitch in there for a strike. 1-2 the count. It is 5-1 Firebirds. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Orleans trying to win their 7th game or rather their 8th game in a row. They've already won 7. Got it last night. 1-2 the count on Smith, the pitch. It's a high chopper toward foul ground on the left side. It will trickle foul away from the 3rd base line. So Smith will do it again. The count is 1-2. Smith on his day walked and scored the only Brewster run in the 1st inning, and then hit a ground ball the 2nd in the 3rd. So 0 for 1 with the base on balls is Smith. Talking about the walks race, he's been racking up a bunch of those these past few games. Here comes the 1-2. It's hit hard right to the second baseman. It's going to be a one-hopper fielded over there. They flipped it short for the force, and that retires the side. Nicely done there by Paul, taking his time, letting the baseball come to him, knowing he had the play over there at second, and it's a 4-6 fielder's choice to end the top of the 5th inning. For the Whitecaps in the top of the 5th, no runs, no hits, 1 left. We're through 4 1/2. It's 5-1 Orleans. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Welcome back to Eldridge Park in Orleans, Massachusetts. A night that's just a gorgeous one. The sun's still not quite setting here over the right field trees out there over the wall and right. The score is 5-1. Orleans on top of Brewster here as we start the bottom half of the 5th inning. Salazar, Scott, and Riley, the 4, 5, 6 hitters, are due up for Kelly Nicholson's team. And Davis Daniel remains on the mound for Brewster. And the righty kicks and deals. The pitch is low at the feet there of Caesar Salazar, bouncing in front of the catcher Mickey Gasper to make the count 1-0. Salazar has a pop fly and a single. Later scored a run after singling in the 3rd inning. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. That's in there for a strike at the knees. Nicely located fastball there from Daniel. And a good frame behind the plate from Mickey Gasper to make the count 1-1. It wasn't lying. Paulie Milto's still throwing out there in the Brewster bullpen. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Just misses on inside on a fastball. To bring the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. And this is sort of where Davis Daniel began to tire out in that first start. Wound up going 4 1/3 innings in that first outing of the year about a week ago. As the 2-1 pitch comes along from the right-hander, it's hit hard on the ground to first base. Gahagan will field it and go to the bag himself for out number 1. And Salazar retired here. But when Jamie Shevchik was talking about Davis Daniel's performance after that first start, he said, listen, the guy hasn't started in a long time. He's still adjusting. He needs to get stretched out a little bit more. And that's kind of, I think, why his effectiveness dropped. And he's now at that point. He's thrown 4 1/3 here with 1 gone in the bottom of the 5th inning. And remains in to face Steven Scott, who is hitting from the left side against the righty Daniel. Daniel into the windup. Here's the pitch. That's a fastball in there for a strike. That was inside and up at the letters, but inside the zone. So strike 1 for the 2nd straight batter from Davis Daniel, the Auburn Tiger. Staring in, gets the sign. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball just misses outside. Daniel trying to drop in a strike there against Scott, who has a ground ball, a walk, and a run scored to his name in this ball game. Scored in that 4-run inning. As the pitch is a fastball up high. Makes the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Brewster actually got up on the board first in this game. Marty Costas had an RBI double to make it 1-0 Caps, and Orleans quickly responded with an RBI double of their own from Decolati to tie the score in the first. The 2-1 pitch misses low to make the count 3-1. And then it was a 4-run 3rd inning for the Orleans Firebirds, an inning where they didn't have an extra base hit. RBI singles from Ethan Paul and an RBI 2-run single from Groshans as the 3-1 pitch misses inside for ball 4. So Steven Scott will advance with his 2nd straight walk on the day, and he is aboard at first base with 1 man out in the bottom of the 5th.
And this is where that Firebirds lineup continues to work Davis Daniel, waiting for their pitches to hit, because he's having trouble commanding not only the fastball but the breaking ball as well. They're doing a good job laying off those pitches, forcing him to try and find the zone, and when he does, he's not locating on the corners. He's finding more of the heart of the plate, and this Firebirds lineup's too good to do that.
Brandon Riley hits a ground ball through the left side and into left field for a base hit. You're talking about hard contact. There's Son Maiden. That was a hard grounder just laced through the left side. So a walk and a single mean it's first and second with one man out for the Firebirds. They are knocking at the door again.
Yeah, that one right on the outside part of the plate. So he located one there on the outside corner, and Riley, a left-handed batter, just shot it in between short and third and into left field.
And out comes Whitecaps head coach Jamie Shevchik, making his traditional slow walk to the mound. Shevchik sometimes a little slow with the signal, but you have to imagine this is close to the end for Davis Daniels' performance. Has not taken the ball here yet as he brings the entire infield in. Gasper with the mask off and Daniel talking to his coach. As now Jeff January, the home plate umpire, will walk up to the mound, and that will prompt a signal. So Paulie Milto will be coming on to replace Davis Daniel with runners on first and second here in the bottom of the fifth inning, and Orleans holding on to a 5-1 lead. We'll step aside for a moment and come on back with the rest of this inning. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Back at Eldridge Park, where the score is 5-1 Orleans. And as we mentioned, Paulie Milto is the new pitcher for Brewster here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Milto, as Aiden was saying earlier, pitched in yesterday's game against Yarmouth Dennis, came on to finish that game. A 7-4 Brewster loss through an inning and third. Did not give up a run, 2 hits allowed, 1 walk, and 3 Ks. On the season for him, the ERA is .651. This is appearance number 5 on the year for Milto. He's thrown 9 2/3 innings, given up 14 hits, struck out 10, and walked 6. And he will face Groshans with Newtbar standing on deck. As Jax Groshans digs in from the right side against the righty Milto. It's first and second with one man out. Here in the bottom of the fifth inning, as I mentioned, it's 5-1 Firebirds here. Milto deals, and it's a fastball in there for strike number 1. Good life on that fastball to start things off from Milto. And the count is 0-1. We've been talking about changing speeds and getting breaking balls in for strikes. That's what Paulie Milto likes to do. As the 0-1 pitch is on the way here from the Indiana Hoosier. It's check swing. The ball just looked like it doinked off his bat as he checked his swing there. So a bit of bad fortune there for Groshans in the batter's box. It kicks foul, so the count is 0-2. Groshans on his day has a walk in the second and a 2-run single in the third inning. That was the hit that made it 5-1 Firebirds, which is where we currently stand. Milto holding the set, 2 on and 1 out. Here comes the 0-2. That just misses outside. Mickey Gasper giving a nice nod to Milto on the mound. That was a fastball down and away. A pitch where perhaps they thought Groshans might chase. He lays it off. Counts 1-2. Milto holding the set. And Pete. And it just misses outside. So the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Milto has a reputation as a workhorse, and that's how he's been treated by Jamie Shevchik so far this season. As we mentioned, pitched back on the 28th of June against Chatham in Stony Brook Field. In addition to that appearance yesterday. And calling for time in the batter's box is Groshans. Steven Scott is on second. Brandon Riley is aboard first base. The Firebirds looking to turn this game into another blowout. Their past 3 games have all been very one-sided, all victories for the Firebirds. 2-2 pitch is a ground ball foul left side over the Whitecaps dugout. So we'll do it again. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Orleans outscoring their opponents 39-6 in those previous 3 games. They're winners of 7 in a row, and it's shot them up to first place in the Eastern Division here in the Cape Cod League. Really the story of the league right now, this Firebirds club. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Check swing on a ball in the dirt. They're going to check to see if he went around, and he did not. So says our first base umpire, Steve DeSante. So the count is full now, 3 balls and 2 strikes, with 2 on and 1 out. It's a 5-1 lead for the Firebirds here in the bottom of inning number 5. Paulie Milto holds the set again. And here comes the 3-2 pitch. It's hit hard through the middle and caught by the shortstop Graffinino, who steps on second base for the double play, and that ends the inning. What a break for Brewster. It was some hard contact through the middle. Graffinino moved to his left, grabbed the baseball, stepped on the bag, and hustled into the Whitecaps dugout. You have to feel like Brewster escaped there in that 5th inning. For the Firebirds in the bottom of the 5th, no runs, 1 hit, and thanks to the inning-ending double play, they only leave 1 runner on. We're through 5 innings of play. It's 5-1 Orleans. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Welcome back to Eldridge Park. We have a new pitcher to tell you about. After 5 dominant innings, Ryan Rollison is finished with his day, and they're going to call on Cody Deason to come and make his 5th appearance of the season in relief. The Whitecaps trailing the Firebirds 5-1 as Orleans trying to protect the lead. Winners of 7 straight, trying to keep that streak going. Cody Deason, hailing from Ojai, California, another University of Arizona player for these Orleans Firebirds. As I mentioned, this will be his 5th appearance of the year and has yet to give up an earned run. Thrown 7 innings, just 4 hits, only 1 walk, and 10 Ks. Those numbers speak for themselves for Cody Deason. Last pitch 4 days ago against Katuitt on the road. Through an inning, no hits, 1 walk, 1 K. He'll face the 3-4-5 hitters for Brewster, or the 2-3-4, excuse me, as Dostras takes the pitch in there for a strike on the inside corner. An off-speed pitch to start things off out of the hand of Deason. The Brewster third baseman is 1 for 2 with a strikeout today. That came against Rollison. Rollison really was dealing, but Kelly Nicholson elects to go to the pen, as I'm sure after a couple of blowout victories in their past few games, these Orleans Firebirds have the available arms they can bring in. Not exactly the most taxing games for your bullpen when you're winning by that much. Pitch to Daughtris is in there for a strike at the knees. Counts 0-2 now on Daughtris. Brewster trying to avoid dipping below 500. As the 0-2 comes along, it's swung on and missed on a fastball up, so Daughtris goes down on strikes for the second time in this ball game. And Cody Deason starts things off on the right foot as Firebirds pitching is picking up where they left off. One gone here in the 6th.
And people will remember the high strike there called, or swung on a miss by Daughtris, but it was really the first two that set that one, though that strike out up. It was 2 pitches kind of out on the outer part of the plate. Coach Shevchik and Daughtris didn't like him, and home plate Jeff January, and Shevchik got into it a little bit.
So here's Mickey Gasper. It's a hard ground ball right to the first baseman, Newbar, who will go to the bag himself to retire Gasper for out number 2. Looked like Mickey hit that baseball right on the screws, but Newbar was where he needed to be, so a quick second out.
It just seems like this Whitecaps team, whenever they're making hard contact tonight, with the exception of the Costas double, which you and I, aren't even 100% sure that's the hardest hit ball they've had tonight, it just hasn't resulted in much success. They haven't made a lot of hard contact, but when they do, it's right at people, too.
Yeah, we saw Graffinino hit a line drive in the 4th inning. We saw that ground ball off the bat of Gasper there. It's not a very long list. Here's Marty Costas. Speaking of him, he takes a fastball outside to start things off for him. The count is 1-0 on the Brewster right fielder. Costas really settling into that right field slot as Jamie Shevchik continues to kind of switch around who's in where in the outfield. 1-0 pitch, breaking ball in there for a called strike at the knees. You were talking about, Aiden, that off-speed stuff setting up the fastball. That's a perfect pitch to do that if that's what you're thinking on the mound. If you're Cody Deason, here comes the 1-1 pitch. Check swinging a pitch low. They're going to say he went, says Jeff January. Costas is saying, why didn't you appeal to first? And we'll take a second. He's still gesturing over to the first base umpire, but won't get that appeal. Did look like from here he went around, but was a bit close. And the count is 1-2. I know, Aiden, you're not a big fan of that.
I say, you and I have talked about this before. Unless it's 100% definitively obvious, I don't think the home plate umpire should ever call that.
1-2 pitch. Misses low. Good take there from Costas as that was a sweeping breaking ball. So 2-2 the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. The score is 5-1. Orleans on top of Brewster. Here in the top of the 6th, the pitch to Costas just misses low. 3-2. So we've been talking about Costas as a free swinger, but those were a couple of excellent takes. Both of them below the knees. And now let's see where Deason goes here. Does he run that fastball up with the count full? Here comes the 3-2 pitch. It's low in the dirt for ball 4 on a fastball, so Marty Costas works a well-deserved walk. And the Whitecaps have a base runner here with 2 outs in the 6th inning.
And we've talked about Marty Costas being a bit of a free swinger tonight there, though showing good plate discipline, laying off pitches to work the walk. And now he's reached base 2 times today, so he's 1 for 2 with a walk. Obviously, the Whitecaps wish, though, that walk hadn't come with 2 outs.
And I tell you what, that's walk number 6 for him on the season. There are only 4 Whitecaps with a higher total than that. The pitch to the righty, Gehagen, misses up. Another fastball from Deason. So the count is 1 ball, no strikes on Gehagen. As Costas so far probably having the best night at the plate of any Brewster Whitecap. He's been able to reach base twice. No other Brewster player has been able to do that in this ball game. Gehagen has a pair of strikeouts. And he takes the pitch up high once again to make the count 2 balls and no strikes on the UNC Tar Heel, who has made a couple of capable plays at first base tonight for Jamie Shevchik's club. A.J. Graffinino standing on deck. Here comes the 2-0. It's up high. They snap throw to first base, and diving back safely is Costas. Salazar deciding to test him, but Costas saw it coming and dove back in time. The pitch missed, so it's a 3-0 count on Gehagen. Brewster trying to cut into this 5-1 Firebirds lead. The pitch is in there for a strike. Looked like Gehagen was taking all the way as that fastball was grooved in there to make the count 3-1. Gehagen, one of those guys as holding the set here is Deason. Here's the pitch. It's foul back to the screen to run the count full 3-2. Gehagen's one of those guys who's still kind of adjusting to that wood bat. Was talking to him, about what the biggest difference is. Obviously, he hasn't faced live pitching in a long time before he arrived in the Cape, and he just said getting his timing down is what's important. He said sometime with a wood bat, when your timing is off, you can really feel it more than you would with aluminum. Runner will be going with the count full and 2 outs. Casas breaking for second. The pitch is foul back to the screen, and we'll do it again with the count 3-2 on Zach Gahagan. Graffinino still standing on deck. A bit unusual to see Graffinino up at this point in the batting order. Typically has been one of the first couple hitters on Shevchik's lineup card, but batting in the 6th spot tonight, with Gahagan hitting 5th, and Gahagan will call for time. It's a big hitter for Brewster here. This is a team, Orleans, that's made a habit of putting teams away quickly, drowning teams in runs, and now Brewster trailing 5-1 has a chance to kind of return to the punch. The pitch is fouled back to the screen again, and Casas will have to retreat. He was going again with the count full and 2 out. Gahagan staying alive here, waiting for a pitch he can drive. And the count remains 3-2. Brewster, as I mentioned, trying to stay above 500. They're into this game at 8-1. The 3-2 pitch is a breaking ball that just misses up. A good take from Gahagan on a breaking ball above the zone. So a pair of walks means Brewster has first and second and 2 out for A.J. Graffinino.
Yeah, and Graffinino's the guy who's hit the ball relatively hard tonight. We're used to seeing him up near the top of that order. And I think the big thing here is now with the lefty Rollison off the mound, Graffinino, a left-handed batter, is going against a right-handed pitcher. So that could lead to more success down the road.
And speaking of the right-handed pitcher, Cody Deason, he's getting some guidance from his catcher, Salazar, and also the Firebirds pitching coach. And it's just a quick meeting. They're breaking it up. Graffinino, as you mentioned, hit a hard ground ball to first base his first time, and then a hard line drive right into the glove of the second baseman, Paul. His last time up, that was in the 4th inning. Brewster trailing 5-1 here at Eldridge Park. We are in the top of inning number 6. And here's the pitch to Graffinino. It misses low and away. So behind him a count. 1-0 is Cody Deason. This is an inning that started with a couple of quick outs. Dotris struck out on a fastball swinging, and then Gasper hit a ground ball to first base. Then a pair of drawn-out walks have made this inning a bit of a rally. 1-0 pitch is in there for a strike. Outside corner on another fastball from Deason to make the count 1 ball and 1 strike on Graffinino. This is the sort of inning that I think Jamie Shevchik would love to see the Whitecaps scrape across a run. He's talked about being efficient and taking advantage of opportunities when you get them. This is an opportunity here for Brewster. First and second and 2 out. 1-1 pitch, breaking ball, misses up. Graffinino is ahead in the count now, 2-1. On deck is Michael Curry for Brewster. Here in the top of the 6th. Deason holding the set. Checks the runner at second and deals. It's in there for a strike. At the knees, Graffinino checked his swing, but it didn't matter. A called strike from Jeff January brings the count even. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. Staring in and getting the sign from his catcher Salazar is the hurler Cody Deason. The righty holds the set. The 2-2 pitch is hit hard into center field. On the run is the center fielder O'Reilly moving to his right, and he makes the grab to retire the side. Graffinino put some wood on the horsehide there, but Riley was able to navigate the sun and make the catch. So the Whitecaps threaten but don't put a run across here in this top of the 6th inning. For Brewster in the 6th, no runs, no hits either. They got 2 walks to put their 2 runners on, and they left 2 runners on base. We're through 5.5 here at Eldridge Park. The score, 5-1 Firebirds. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Back here at Eldridge Park, Carter Waddell and Aiden Doyle here with you. Thank you so much for tuning in here on the Whitecaps Radio Network. The score, Firebirds 5, Whitecaps 1. We are starting the bottom of the 6th, and it will be the 8, 9, and 1 hitters due up for Orleans. Lars Newtbar, Hopi, and then Jimmy Herron, the DH, leading off for Kelly Nicholson's club against Paulie Milto, who faced just one hitter in the 5th inning, got a fortuitous double play. And the pitch to the lefty is grooved in there for a strike on an off-speed pitch to Newtbar. And so Milto is ahead in the count, no balls and 1 strike. Newtbar on his day, speaking of double plays, he grounded into one. His first time up in the 2nd, and made a hard line drive to the shortstop Graffinino in the 3rd. The pitch. This is up and away. It sure seems, Aiden, like we've seen a lot of hard contact that has not been going for base hits in this ball game. I mean, we saw the double play I mentioned from Milto that was turned by Graffinino. We saw a line drive off the bat of Graffinino to the second baseman Paul when the Whitecaps were hitting, and a few more plays like that. 1-1 pitch is a ground ball, squirting foul down the left side. Just foul down the third base line. Makes the count 1-2. And at the same time, we've seen a few bloop singles go their way, and especially for the Firebirds in that 3rd inning, wound up scoring 4 runs, and the table was set with a couple of a bloop single and a ground ball single, though some hard hit balls wound up driving in those runs. It's 5-1 Orleans. 1-2 pitch. Misses low. Evens the count 2 balls and 2 strikes on Lars Newtbar. Newtbar hitting from the left side against Paulie Milto. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Misses down and in to run the count full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Brewster started the scoring with an RBI double from Costas, an RBI double from DeColati, the hot hitter out of Loyola Marymount. Even the scoreman, that 4-run 3rd inning came on for the Firebirds. 3-2 pitches hit high in the air into right field. Moving to his right is Marty Costas. He's underneath it now in right center, and he makes the catch for out number 1 here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Yeah, the ball really isn't flying here at Eldridge Park today. Wind blowing in like we've talked about, Carter, from right center field. That one hit pretty hard by Newtbar, but just up in the air, wind knocked it down a bit and turned into a routine fly ball for Marty Costas.
There is action in the Whitecaps pen, and as was foretold here in the booth, it is Joe Demers warming up for Brewster. The pitch is low to the lefty swinging Jeff Hopi, who's ahead in the count, 1 ball and no strikes against Milto. Seems like Demers and Milto are kind of earning the workhorse reputation on this Whitecaps club early on. 1-0 pitch is hit hard out to right field. Costas takes a couple steps back, now a couple steps in, and is underwritten, makes the catch. So Marty Costas involved in the first couple of plays, as again, that one just kind of got lifted up and stayed there, Aiden.
And that was another example, though, Carter, of hard contact that doesn't result in even a hit for a team, let alone, a run. Hopi got a good piece of that one, drove it out to right field, but right at Marty Costas.
So we're back to the top of the Orleans order now, as Jimmy Herron will dig in for the 4th time in this ball game. And the pitch to the right-hander out of the righty Milto's hand is a fastball, nicely pitched in there for a strike at the knees. To make the count 0-1. Herron has a pair of singles, a pair of runs scored, 2 stolen bases as well, flew out his last time up. 0-1 pitch. Just misses. That one looks like it was just a tad below the knees. Trying to get the fastball down and in on the inside corner was Milto. And despite Gasper's frame, Jeff January calls it ball 1. 1-1 is the count. The pitch to the righty, swing and a miss on a, looked like a fastball in the dirt there. Looked like Jimmy Herron was in the sand trap on the back 9, golfing at that pitch in the dirt. Here comes the 1-2 pitch from Milto, and he swings and misses at a ball in the dirt again to strike himself out. So Paulie Milto with a couple of nicely located pitches in that at-bat to the leadoff hitter Herron. That's his first strikeout of the ball game, and the Orleans Firebirds go down in order here in the bottom of the 6th. So we are through 6 innings of play. It's still 5-1 Firebirds. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network.
Back here in Orleans, it'll be 7, 8, and 9 due up for the Brewster Whitecaps here in the top of the 7th inning. 5-1 the score. Firebirds on top of the Whitecaps as Michael Curry leading things off for Brewster. And first pitch swinging fastball lifted foul over the first base dugout and out of play. Cody Deason still on the mound for the Firebirds. Went 1 inning through the top of the 6th for Orleans. And the 0-1 pitch to Curry, breaking ball, chopped towards short. It is cut off by the third baseman Grosjean's throw onto first in time to retire Curry for out number 1. And now Hunter Bishop will come into the box with 1 down.
Another nifty play there from Grosjean's, cutting him off, as you said, in that shortstop hole. Almost looked like he sort of underhanded that throw a little bit, was leaping in the air. Athletic play to retire Curry.
And now the number 8 hitter Hunter Bishop, like I mentioned, digs into the box. Left-handed hitting center fielder for Brewster. Looks at a first pitch off-speed pitch from Deason. Misses off the plate for ball 1. Bishop 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts today. And now swings at one low in the zone and chops it foul towards the Whitecaps dugout. Count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. Deason, right-handed pitcher, reliever for Orleans. This Firebirds bullpen's been excellent this year. As Bishop lifts this one high and deep in the air out towards right center field. Going back is the center fielder Riley, and he makes the play just shy of the right center field fence. Carter, I think in a lot of other ballparks that ball's gone, but here with the wind blowing in and with center field and right center as deep as it is here at Eldridge Park, it turns into a long fly out to center field.
Boy, there's a lot of room out there. You know, I'm thinking the Whitecaps played YD yesterday. If we were in South Yarmouth, that would have been gone by a mile at that stadium where it's maybe a 50, 75-foot difference out there with that center field wall. But give credit to Riley making use of the room. And Bishop just not in the right ballpark for that hit.
And now first pitch fastball from Deason misses upstairs. We have a pinch hitter for the Whitecaps, and it's a man that a lot of college baseball fans know right now. It's Chandler Taylor, who comes in for Devin Foyle. Taylor last night in Omaha finished in 2nd as he looks at a fastball outside for ball 2. 2nd in the TD Ameritrade Home Run Derby. He had 16 home runs in the final round, but was 1 short of the crown. Had a chance to win it with the money ball as he lifts this one high in the air in the infield just in front of home plate. It's the catcher Salzar calling off the rest of his infield, and he puts it away for out number 3. So the Whitecaps go down in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. We played 6.5. It's time to stretch at Eldridge Park. 5-1 the score. Orleans on top of Brewster. Keep it right here. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network. Short break here in the middle of the 7th inning as Take Me Out to the Ball Game is being sung. 5-1 the score moving to the bottom of the 7th inning. Chandler Taylor pinch hit for Devin Foyle there in the top of the 7th, made the 3rd out. And for more on Chandler Taylor, we go down to the 3rd member of our crew, Maura Sheridan.
Thanks, Aiden. Well, as Aiden told us earlier, Chandler Taylor was just 1 home run short of winning yesterday's home run derby, and that's all the way in Omaha. So he flew in today. I was told by Coach Jamie Shevchik that he got in 10 minutes before game time, and he's out there. He's Coach Jamie Shevchik said what he loves about Chandler Taylor is he always wants to get out there. In the dugout, Chandler Taylor was like, I want to play. I'm going in there. I'm super tired and super jet-lagged, but I'm going to play. So that's the kind of attitude that Jamie Shevchik said that they missed yesterday in the 8-3 loss. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Maura. And now Paulie Milto back on the mound for the Whitecaps. First pitch to Ethan Paul, a strike over the outside corner. So the count 0-1 on the Orleans second baseman.
And it seems like things worked out for Chandler Taylor. Lefty on the mound, pulled for a righty. You probably bring him in as a pinch hitter in that spot anyway.
And now this one lifted in the air, foul over the third base dugout, out of play. So the count now 0-2 on Paul. And yeah, you're right. We talked yesterday about, you said it. How much do the Whitecaps miss Chandler Taylor in this spot, being the left-handed batter, with a ton of power, as we saw last night, launching multiple baseballs over 470 feet. As Milto airmails the catcher there for ball one. But he broke the scoreboard twice. Can we just reiterate that 2 different times, knocking out some lights in these big scoreboard at TD Ameritrade Park.
Not a small scoreboard out there. Not close to the plate.
1-2 count. Milto misses once again upstairs. Count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes. And what blew a lot of the Whitecaps' minds, I remember I was watching it with a lot of them at their fundraising event last night, is that ESPN's tracker as far as how far the ball goes, as Paul fouls a fastball straight back into the netting, count stays 2-2, basically just goes on where it lands. So there was one ball that Taylor hit in, to the seats that they listed at 415, and there was one he put like 3/4 of the way up the scoreboard out in right field that they said, oh, that went 450. And Michael Curry goes, yeah, maybe 550 feet. That ball was absolutely crushed as Paul lifts this one once again up in the air and foul over the third base dugout. So Paul doing a good job staying alive. They really thought, Paul, I believe Taylor's longest home run of the night was 476 feet. And I think that one, if that scoreboard just wasn't in the way, probably would have gone even farther.
Yeah, it was really a terrific display of power for him. He was talking at dinner after a game once.
As Milto just misses inside with a fastball, now 3-2 on Paul.
And kind of one of the teammates kind of asked him, you think you have a chance at winning the home run derby? And he kind of looked at him and said, you think I'd be going if I didn't know I was going to win? If I didn't think that I had a shot at winning the home run derby? That's the kind of attitude that Chandler Taylor has. That's what Jamie Shevchik says he loves about him.
Payoff pitch, once again lifted in the air, foul over the third base dugout. And I remember Michael Curry, Justin Coons, 2 of these Whitecaps catchers, were kind of giving him a hard time when he was leaving, saying, hey, if you don't have any hardware to come back or come back with, don't bother coming back. Win it or else. But no, they had a great time watching their teammate on ESPN2 as Milto misses high and outside with a fastball. 3-2 now the count on Paul. And, you said it. He put on an absolute show. Actually, excuse me, that was ball 4. I was right the first time. The scoreboard had not updated. Took everyone a little bit of a time there to adjust, but it was indeed ball 4, so Paul heads on down to first base.
If only we had one of those TD Ameritrade Park scoreboards.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Chandler Taylor would take aim for it here in batting practice and during the games, but may not last very long with him here. And now it'll be the number 3 hitter, Nico Decolati, who steps in for the Firebirds. And the first pitch from Milto, a fastball over the outer corner for strike 1. Taylor 3rd in the SEC this year with 16 home runs for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and hit 16 in the final round last night in the home run derby. This one chopped on the ground towards first, fielded by Hagan, looks towards second, not in time though, and will take it himself to first to retire Decolati. So Paul moves to second base, and Decolati's retired on the 3 unassisted for out number 1.
That's a good decision from Gahagan. Remember, we saw back in the second inning, he decided to make that throw down to Graffinino covering second and get the double play. But that time, too much speed there from Ethan Paul. He was going quickly, and a good decision from Zach to just go and get the force out at first base.
And now the number 4 hitter, Cesar Salazar, steps in for Orleans. He's 1 for 3 today, singled in the 3rd inning and would come around to score. And the first pitch from Milto, off speed, misses below the knees for ball 1. When you look at last night's home run derby, though, 5 of the 6 competitors are playing in the Cape League this season. 1 in Wareham, 1 in Cotuit, 2 in Brewster. As Milto paints the outside corner there with a fastball. Count evens at 1-1 to Salzar. And 1 in Falmouth. I was blanking on the fifth guy there. Logan Davidson in Falmouth, Griffin Conine in Cotuit, and the 1-1 from Milto. Breaking ball misses off the plate, now 2-1. Obviously, Julian Infante and Chandler Taylor from Brewster. And Tristan Pompey in Wareham. 2-1 count here to Salzar as Milto comes set, and the pitch. Hit on the ground towards second, fielded there by Nick Dunn, who took over for Connor Smith. And the throw on to first in time. Paul moves to third on the play, but now there are 2 down here at the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, that Dunn for Smith swap seems like Coach Shevchik is getting those lefty hitters back in the lineup. A couple of righties in the card to start the game. It's a big hitter for Milto, who so far has been doing his job. He's been chugging right along, has yet to give up a hit since he was brought into the game. Joe Demers was warming up in the Brewster pen. He's still out there, I think, but it looks like he's pretty much ready to go.
Now the number 5 hitter, Steven Scott, looks at a first pitch strike from Milto. And you got to wonder, I mean, how long will Milto go? He did throw 7 1/3 this year in 1 outing for Indiana, but obviously not going to do that tonight as this one's fouled off right towards us. And the count now 0-2 on Steven Scott.
But this is a really valuable thing to have. I've said this before, that I think this is something that's undervalued in baseball, is having a guy who can go long and get you outs and put up zeros in a situation where, you know, it could be a tie game when the game is going into extra innings. It could be a game where, like this one, where it's a game that's still in reach, but you don't want to burn your bullpen too much. It's important to have a guy like Paulie Milto.
0-2 breaking ball, check swing there from Scott. The appeal down to the third base umpire, and he went. Nick DeMarchi says he did go, and that is the second strikeout of the ball game for Paulie Milto. So Milto strands a runner at third. No runs on no hits, no errors. 1 man left on base for the Firebirds in the bottom of the 7th inning. We played 7 here at Eldridge Park. Firebirds still on top of the Whitecaps, 5-1. Back at Eldridge Park as we move to the top of the 8th inning. It'll be back to the top of the Whitecaps order here against a new Firebirds pitcher. It's Brett Daniels, the righty out of the University of North Carolina, taking over on the mound for the Firebirds. In 4 games this year, he's gone 6 2/3 innings, does not have a decision, but a 4.05 ERA, but does have a save. And his first pitch to Nick Dunn, who took over for Connor Smith at second base, a fastball in there for strike 1. Dunn, left-handed hitting second baseman out of the University of Maryland. Ready for the 0-1 pitch. Broken bat. Soft ground ball down the third baseline, but that one will roll foul. So Dunn will retreat back to the third base dugout to get a new piece of lumber. And one of the Whitecaps bat boys will give it to him.
That was one of those where you don't really know that it's broken by the looks, but you know by the sound. That had the sound of a shattered bat. It looks like it just got chipped a little bit. And Nick Dunn will break in the new stick.
And now it looks like Daniels is ready. Dunn's ready as Daniels comes set. And the 0-2 pitch. Fastball misses well high and outside.
And I think for Brewster, this is a situation where they're kind of running into some bad fortune that for the Firebirds, their last 3 games have been blowout victories. Now the best arms in Miss Whitey bullpen are getting called up. It's just, or excuse me, the Orleans bullpen.
As Dunn lines this one hard down the left field line, but it slices foul. And an unbelievable catch by a man sitting in a lawn chair. Just reached back over his head as if he were making a football catch, as if he were just falling back in the end zone and grabbed it with
OBJ
his,
style,
yeah,
right?
with his bare hands. As Dunn hits one on the ground towards second, fielded on a hop by Paul. Routine play over to first for out number 1.
I tell you what, I don't know if you're aware with what I believe is the proper etiquette in that situation when you make a great snag as an adult in the foul territory. You gotta make the play. You gotta acknowledge that you are the one who made the catch, receive the accolades, and then hand the baseball to the nearest child under 12.
There you go. So you know we're on the same page here. I've always been one, because I've never actually caught a foul ball at a game, in the air. I've always been one to, I'm going to take a picture of like me with it, and then I'll give it to someone just to prove
that's appropriate.
That I got it.
As long as it ends with the baseball in the hands of a child.
As Kyle Daughtris looks at a first pitch breaking ball in there for strike 1. Daughtris on the day 1 for 3, singled in his first at bat, and then has struck out swinging in his last 2. Daniels comes set, and the 0-1 pitch. Fastball there right on the inner corner for strike 2, so Daughtris quickly in an 0-2 hole. Daniels from the stretch. Kicks in the 0-2. Breaking ball, good job there by Daughtris to lay off that one. That one missing downstairs in the dirt. 1-2 now the count on the North Carolina third baseman.
Yeah, just checked the swing, but was able to hold up. I'm with you, Aiden. That was a nice take, especially when you're in a situation when you're trying to protect the plate.
Mickey Gasper waiting on deck for the Whitecaps. And the 1-2 hit in the air deep out to left field. Going back is the center fielder Riley on the run, and that one's up against the fence. Daughtris into second base standing up. They're waving him into third. His helmet has flown off, and he'll be into third sliding head first with a 1-out triple. Kyle Daughtris gave that one a ride. It almost left the ballpark here at Eldridge Park, but it hit right off the fence, and now the Whitecaps have their second run of the ball game just 90 feet away.
That is the first triple for any of these members on the Brewster Whitecaps active roster this season. The first triple by a Brewster Whitecaps hitter so far this year. And I know when we were here on opening night, Aiden, you gave me the list of the folks who have gone yard over the center field wall here at Orleans, and they're all Hall of Famers, and Kyle Daughtris hit that one off the wall in center.
As Mickey Gasper digs in, and first pitch there from Brett Daniels misses high and outside. And that's a pretty exclusive club to join here in the Orleans Firebirds lore. Those are the guys they claim. I believe Frank Thomas, Mark Teixeira, as Mickey Gasper looks at a fastball there from Daniels on the inner corner, evens the count at 1-1. I think Matt Wieters is one as well. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Well, big leaguers there.
Yeah, they're all
guys who had a future.
All-star appearances. 1-1 count to Gasper. Fastball from Daniels misses high above the letters. Now 2-1.
And you got to give Dodgers credit on that play because he wasn't thinking, oh, how far is this going? Can I get a home run? He was thinking, I'm getting 3, and the helmet flew off before he'd even rounded second.
I'd say the helmet came off in between first and second. He's like, nope, I'm still going. 2-1 breaking ball there from Daniels, finds the zone, and the count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes to Gasper. And if you watch Dodgers play, I remember when we were at Doran Park in Bourne, there were a couple of plays where his helmet flies. I don't know what it is about Kyle Dodgers where it just always seems to fly off his head. 2-2 count to Gasper. Fastball there from Daniels just misses inside, and the count runs full. Kelly Nicholson, Firebirds coach, wanted that one for strike 3.
You see guys like that in the big leagues. You know, Eduardo Nunez is one of those guys you can think of where the helmet just never seems to stay on their head.
Hanley Ramirez,
right.
A great one. Payoff pitch, and Gasper down swinging, got a piece of that one, but Salazar able to hang on. So Gasper now on the day 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, been a rough day at the plate for Mickey Gasper, kind of hanging his head just a little bit as he heads to the dugout. He's had such terrific plate discipline so far this season, but has a couple of swinging strikeouts here in this ball game.
And now Marty Costas steps in. Looks at a first pitch breaking ball there from Daniels for ball 1.
If there's anything we know about Mickey Gasper, it's that he's very good at bouncing back after a rough outing, or a rough at-bat, even a rough pitch.
He only plays at Bryant, but he has a professional approach to each and every at-bat. As Daniels misses high and tight with a fastball, now 2-0 on Marty Costas.
And you got to give the pitchers credit on the side of the Orleans Firebirds. They've made great pitches to Gasper this whole game. That's what you got to do.
2-0 count and the pitch. Costas fouls this one right off of his foot, now 2-1. And I know we've touched on this earlier, Carter, but Gasper is one of the guys who beat them in this first matchup between the Firebirds and the Whitecaps way back on opening day. Gasper going deep to left field here at Eldridge Park, a 2-run shot. So you got to believe he was a guy on their, guy to watch list. As the pitch from Daniels, fastball misses just below the knees, now 3-1 on Costas.
And this is a big pitch here for Costas. I know it's a 5-1 game in favor of Orleans right now, but the runner on third base for Brewster, if they're able to get that run in, a 3-run deficit, it's much easier to bring the tying run up to the plate in that 9th inning, which is what the Whitecaps are going to be trying to do.
3-1 hit on the ground hard towards short, fielded on a hop by the shortstop. And throw on to first in time to retire Costas for out number 3. He hit it hard, but right at the shortstop Hotby. And they strand Kyle Dodgers at third base. No runs on 1 hit, no errors. 1 man left on base for the Whitecaps in the top of the 8th. We move to the bottom of the 8th. Orleans Firebirds still on top of Brewster by a score of 5-1. Keep it right here. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Pitching change for the Whitecaps as we move to the bottom of the 8th, and it's a surprising one, Carter. J.R. McDermott takes over on the mound. For the Brewster Whitecaps, we've seen him make 3 appearances, but they've all been starts, and this was a guy who, according to a tentative projection, not set in stone, but what Coach Shevchik was planning on doing, was supposed to get the start on Tuesday at Harwich on July 4th.
This is a really interesting decision, especially because J.R. McDermott has been pretty effective in the starts that he's had so far this year. I know the command has been a little up and down. He's ready to start off his work here.
And his first pitch to the number 6 hitter, Brandon Riley, fastball cut on and miss for strike one.
And he's really been kind of a capable hand in the starting rotation, so this is an interesting decision by Coach Shevchik.
And the 0-1 pitch from McDermott, a breaking ball that misses in the dirt for ball one. Count evens 1 ball and 1 strike.
I don't know if he's decided to shake up the rotation for that July 4th game. It's kind of puzzling for me.
McDermott's 1-1. Fastball lifted in the air in the infield, drifting now into foul territory. It's the third baseman, Daughtris, makes the play just in front of the Whitecaps dugout. McDermott, Gasper, and Daughtris all gave chase, but it was eventually Daughtris who called him off and put it away for out number 1.
And I'm not saying that J.R. McDermott isn't suited to this sort of role. I mean, we're talking about long relief guys. You know, you were talking about, you know, how unheralded those guys are. Of course, Brewster home to a great long reliever, and Adam Warren, who's now in the big leagues. J.R. McDermott kind of has that profile. You know, he's a diminutive right-hander who can come on and give you innings and have solid command, put up some zeros for you. But this is just interesting given how he's been used earlier in this season. And
now his first pitch. Fastball lifted in the air down the right field line, giving chase is Marty Costas' long run. And he calls off Gahagan and puts it away for out number 2. A long run for Marty Costas, but he's a pretty athletic guy, and he can run that one down.
Yeah, terrific job from Costas there. That was a mile high out there in right field. And wound up running from straightaway right field all the way to foul ground down the line. A terrific catch.
And for those of you at home wondering, J.R. McDermott, who, like I mentioned, we've seen start on the mound 3 times for these Brewster Whitecaps, does have some experience in relief, as his first pitch to the number 8 hitter Lars Nootbaar in there for strike 1. This year for Colorado Mesa, made 16 appearances. 14 of them were starts, but again, 2 of them out of the bullpen. 0-1 count to Nootbaar as McDermott deals a breaking ball that misses above the letters. Count evens 1 ball and 1 strike.
And the Whitecaps bullpen is quiet right now. I was wondering if maybe he's on a short leash sort of situation.
He's already got 2 down here in the bottom of the 8th. And the 1-1 pitch. Fastball fouled straight back into netting, so 1-2 now the count. And you got to believe, I don't want to say this is, you know, Chev waving the white flag or anything, but if he's on an innings limit this year anyways, because he threw over 80 innings this year for Colorado Mesa. So trying to get him some work, obviously, but again, he's supposed to start Tuesday, so that doesn't really make sense, as this one lifted in the air foul of the third base dugout. But you got to believe if the Whitecaps are able to come back and tie this one, obviously trailing 5-1 here in the bottom of the 8th inning, you wonder if he'd come out there for the bottom of the 9th. But with him, maybe, obviously with the Whitecaps trailing 5-1, maybe Chev views this as the perfect time, as a breaking ball chopped foul towards the Firebirds dugout. With a 5-1 deficit, if he gets the third out here and the Whitecaps fail to score 4 in the top of the 9th, then he only goes 1 inning. So it's not like he's throwing multiple innings of relief, obviously barring a Whitecaps comeback. 1-2 pitch from McDermott, lined into left field and over the head of Daughtris. That'll get down, and cutting it off is the left fielder Taylor, and holds Nootbaar to a single. So a 2-out single there for Lars Nootbaar, and the Firebirds have a man aboard for the number 9 hitter, Jeff Hotby.
Looks like we might see a 4th pitcher from Kelly Nicholson's team, as Josh Hyatt, another UNC product, is currently taking some throws out in the Firebirds bullpen over the right center field wall.
And now the number 9 hitter, Hotby, stepping in for the Firebirds. 5-1 the score in this one. Orleans on top of Brewster. Just 3 hits for the Whitecaps in this game, and they did commit an error, while Orleans has not committed one. And the first pitch from McDermott to Hotby, a fastball over the inner part of the plate for strike 1. McDermott working out of the stretch now, comes set, and his 0-1 pitch. Fastball right over the inner corner for strike 2. Had some heat on that one. And so now J.R. McDermott just 1 strike away from getting out of the bottom of the 8th inning. McDermott looking over to Nootbaar at first. Now the 0-2 fastball misses high. Good stop there from Gasper. Kind of had a leap for that one, but able to bring it down. So a 1-2 count now on Hotby, who is 0 for 3 on his day, as McDermott comes set. And the 1-2 pitch. Hit on the ground towards second. Moving to his left is Dunn. Fields and short throw onto first in time for out number 3. So no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and a man left on for Orleans in the bottom of the 8th. We will head to the top of the 9th. The Whitecaps looking to rally. They trail by 4 runs, and they're down to their final 3 outs. It'll be Gahagan, Graffinino, and Curry due up for Brewster in the top of the 9th. Keep it right here. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network. Well, the Whitecaps hope it's rally time here at Eldridge Park as we move to the top of the 9th inning. It'll be Gahagan, Graffinino, and Curry due up for the Brewster Whitecaps against a new Firebirds pitcher. It's Josh Hyatt out of North Carolina, a right-handed reliever originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. As Gahagan steps in, so a UNC matchup here.
That's true.
2 Tar Heels.
Got a lot of Tar Heels on McCabe, a dozen of them at least.
Hyatt has been the closer for this Firebirds team so far this season. Deals a first pitch fastball in there for strike 1 to Gahagan. In 5 appearances, he has 4 saves, 8 innings, just 2 hits allowed, has struck out 9, and has not allowed an earned run. And now misses down and away with a fastball, so the count evens 1 ball and 1 strike on Gahagan.
Boy, Hyatt has one of those fastballs that kind of makes you sit up a little straighter in your chair when he delivered that first pitch.
1-1 pitch to Gahagan. He chops it foul right towards the Whitecaps dugout, so the count moves to 1-2. 5-1 the score. Firebirds on top of the Whitecaps. Orleans out hitting Brewster 9-3. And Orleans does not have an error up on their scoreboard. Brewster has 1. Top of the 9th inning here, 1-2 count on Zach Gahagan. Josh Hyatt working from the windup and the 1-2 pitch. Hit on the ground, foul towards Whitecaps dugout once again, and so Gahagan stays alive.
Very important batter here for Brewster. You got to get the leadoff runner on if you're trying to come back from a 4-run hole here in the 9th. And the goal, this reminds me of exactly what was happening yesterday. I mean, they were in the same situation, heading into a do-or-die inning, trailing by 4. The goal is to get the tying run to the plate.
1-2, breaking ball, cut on and miss. Gahagan down swinging for out number 1. That's his 3rd strikeout of the game. Second one swinging. And there's one down here in the top of the ninth.
Yeah, it's been a tough day for Gahagan because he's been able to work some at-bats, extend the count, and make the hurler work in the batter's box, but no results in terms of getting on base.
And now the shortstop, A.J. Graffinino, steps in. One down here in the top of the ninth inning. Michael Curry waits on deck. First pitch fastball there from Hyatt, right on the outside corner for strike one. Largest crowd of the season here at Eldridge Park today, 1,913 fans in attendance. As Graffinino lines one right to the shortstop, Hotby, who makes the play on the fly for out number 2. So Graffinino, once again, hits one right off the barrel of the bat and has nothing to show for it.
Yeah, I put a notation in my scorecard every time someone hits the ball hard and gets out, and I've got 3 of them for Graffinino in his last 3 at-bats, which is pretty extraordinary. He's 0 for 4, but he had a hard line drive to second in the 4th, a line drive to center field in the 6th, and there, right to shortstop here in the 9th. Just not a lucky day for Graffinino.
And now the Whitecaps are down to their final out. It's Michael Curry stepping in. Looks at a first pitch fastball from Hyatt over the inner part of the plate for strike one. 0-1 the count. Hunter Bishop waits on deck for Brewster as a breaking ball gets away there from Hyatt, misses upstairs. Curry has to duck out of the way. Count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. 5-1 the score. Orleans on top of Brewster as Curry swings through an off-speed pitch there. 1-2 now the count. And so the Whitecaps down to their final strike here at Eldridge Park. Firebirds looking to win their 8th straight. If the score holds, the Whitecaps will drop their 3rd consecutive as a breaking ball there from Hyatt misses inside to Curry. Count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes. Coming into this game, the Whitecaps were 2-5-1 on the road, so struggling away from Stony Brook Field. 2-2 pitch, hit on the ground, back up the middle, ranging to his left as Hotby fields on a hop, throw on the run in time for out number 3, and that's your ball game. The Firebirds defeat the Whitecaps 5-1. Here at Eldridge Park. It's 8 consecutive wins for the Orleans Firebirds and 3 consecutive losses for the Brewster Whitecaps. Orleans moves to 12-6 on the year. Brewster falls to 8-9-1. Your final line scores: Brewster 1 run on 3 hits. They committed an error. Orleans 5 runs on 9 hits. They did not commit an error. And Carter, it really seemed like a combination of pitching that was susceptible to getting hit early. The big inning there from the Firebirds back in the 3rd inning. They put up a 4 spot there, and then a lineup that just mustered 3 hits.
Yeah, this pretty much followed the blueprint for the winning streak that we've seen from Orleans so far. Ever since the Firebirds heated up, they get on board early. Usually through a big inning, usually where they keep the line moving like they did in that 3rd inning. They were able to get the 4 different hits. They were all singles. They got 1 walk and were able to score 4 runs in the 3rd and then put up zeros from there. The bullpen was terrific in relief of Ryan Rollison. As a whole, those 3 pitchers, Deason, Daniels, and Hyatt, they go 4 innings. They only gave up 1 hit as a group in the final 4 innings of the game. They did walk 2 and struck out 3, 1 strikeout for each of the 3 pitchers. A terrific performance for the Firebirds bullpen. And not saying that Rollison wasn't great on the mound, but really an excellent job by the folks who were backing him up. And this Orleans team, they started the year slumping, and since then they are just turning into a juggernaut before our very eyes here, Aiden.
Yeah, this is an Orleans team that started out 0-4 on the year and 1-5 after 6 games, and now 12-6. So they've won 11 of their last 12 games here in the Cape Cod Baseball League. And you mentioned the start from Rollison. It seemed like almost the exact opposite with Daniel versus Rollison. Daniel had obviously gave up a run in the 1st inning, but then had a scoreless 2nd, and then the 2nd time through the order that Orleans Firebirds lineup really took advantage of him, whereas Rollison gave up a run in the 1st inning on a Marty Costas double, and then it was smooth sailing all the way from there.
Yeah, it really did feel like Davis Daniel just didn't quite have it today. You know, he's a guy, when he's changing speeds, when he can fool hitters and kind of get hitters to have to play his game on the mound, he can be a terrific pitcher. But today it seemed like Orleans were 1 step ahead of him. They were being aggressive when they needed to be. They were putting hard contact on the baseball and sitting on the pitches that they needed to. So for Davis Daniel, this is just a tough outing and another great day for the Orleans hitters, especially early in this ball game.
Yeah, they really jumped the gun. Like you talk about it, 4 runs in the 3rd inning. That 4 hits in that inning as well. I know you love your trivia stats. You love your weird oddities in baseball.
I do.
They left a runner on in every single inning but one. That was the bottom of the 6th inning. So every inning, 7 of the 8 innings that they came up to bat, they left exactly 1 runner on base. So a little unique tidbit there. But there is some good news for Whitecaps fans, those who have been fans for a few years. 2012 Whitecap Aaron Judge was selected to his first All-Star game tonight. He was the leading vote getter in the American League with over 4.4 million votes. The Yankees outfielder right now 3rd in the American League in average and then 1st in home runs and RBI. So there is some good news, but obviously Whitecaps fans who came out today to Eldridge Park looking for a win, and they didn't get it.
And if you're talking about runners left on, Orleans left 7 and Brewster only left 6. If you look at that, it seems like a decent enough figure. It's the same amount that they left yesterday and half of what they did back on Friday when they left a dozen on against Hyannis in that 8-3 loss. But of those 6 runners they left on, 4 of them were in scoring position for Brewster. So as much as that stat isn't quite as lighting up as it was in previous games, I'm sure Jamie Shevchik isn't going to be pleased with Brewster not taking advantage of those opportunities that the Firebirds were able to do in this ball game.
Yeah, and when you talk about runners left on base, it's a telling stat, but at the same time it can lie to you as well, because okay, they left 6 runners on base. That seems like a better number than what they've had, because that's been a problem for this team all year. But it's a lot easier to leave fewer runners on base when they never reach base. And that was a problem for this Whitecaps team today. Just 3 hits on the offensive side. But one of the stars of the game was Paulie Milto, right-hander out of Indiana University, and our very own Maura Sheridan's with Paulie right now.
All right, so a 5-1 loss, but a good performance from you individually. No runs, no hits, and 2 1/3. How do you stifle this Orleans offense that scored 17 runs last night?
I'm just going out there and executing pitches, hitting spots. Could be the greatest college hitter ever, but if you make pitches, you can get them out.
You came in for the 3rd time in 5 days. How do you feel about that sort of workhorse role?
I don't know. I'm just doing what the coach tells me to do. He said he needed me, so just toughen up and do it.
3 losses in a row. That's the most this season. Mentally, how does your team bounce back from this?
Just got to regroup, We have the talent. We have all the skill sets. We just got to believe in ourselves and get back to it.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was Paulie Milto, right-hander out of Indiana University, and like Maura said, 2 2/3 innings today for Milto. No hits allowed, no runs, walked 1 but struck out 2. He was fantastic in relief and really gave this Whitecaps team a chance to at least come back in this ball game after Davis Daniel let up 5 earned runs in 4 1/3. Milto came in, like I mentioned, 2 2/3, and then J.R. McDermott with 1 inning of relief for Brewster, 1 hit allowed, and no walks, no strikeouts for JR. And I'm sure we'll hear from Coach Shevchik with Maura in just a few minutes. And I'm interested as to what he has to say, hopefully, about what this does for this pitching staff coming up. Because like we talked about, Carter, J.R. McDermott was slated to start on Tuesday against the Harwich Mariners on July 4th.
Yes, and it's going to be interesting because it's funny. It feels like we were right back to normal or normal-ish with the starting rotation ever since it was shaken up when Zach Lingenfelter went down with that oblique injury. And now it seems like there might be a little curveball in this rotation again. Of course, if it's the coach's decision, then that probably is a lot better than if your starting pitcher goes down with an injury moments before a game begins, like happened with Zach Lingenfelter and Chatham. But like you, Aiden, I'm interested to hear how Coach Shevchik is going to handle this. We've already seen, when he's talking about Sam Bordner's role, using his best reliever in a non-closer situation, that he's a little unorthodox in the way that he uses his pitchers, something that I think is a good quality in a manager, especially in this sort of context in summer ball. So we'll see what he has to say.
And when you're thinking about Whitecaps starting pitchers, guys who aren't restricted to the bullpen, you're looking at guys like Connor Higgins, Tony Losi, obviously Davis Daniel got the start tonight, so it'll be interesting to hear what he has to say. And Coach Shevchik is making his way over with whom I presume is his daughter. I would hope that is correct. He's nodding his head, so yes, that is correct, a young child alongside him. And right now we'll send it down to our very own Maura Sheridan, who's with Coach Shevchik.
Well, a tough loss. It seems like when guys like Gasper and Graffinino aren't hitting, there isn't a lot of offense. How do you get guys like Devin Foyle and Hunter Bishop involved?
I think what we need to do here is what you're going to start seeing over the course of the next probably week is more of a consistent lineup. You know, guys like Nick Dunn, he's got to play every day. He's going to have to start playing every day. He's a guy we're going to really rely on, and it's not. You know, I'm thinking about it on the bench today. You know, he's sitting on the bench, and he's one of our best players from last year. And you know, so I think we're getting close to the time of, you know, the charity time and the playing time. We need to find a little bit more of a consistent, balanced lineup, and that's going to include guys like Julian Infante when he gets here, and more of Chandler Taylor and more of Nick Dunn, and they might take a couple steps back, you know, initially. But you know, in order for us to prepare for the end of this month, those guys are going to really need to get it going.
After Davis and Milto, you went to typical starter Jared McDermott, who in the tentative schedule, he's scheduled for July 4th. What was that decision? Why did you choose to do that?
We're running out of bullpen arms. We literally had, you know, we would have wasted a couple guys tonight and not have. We're struggling right now managing our bullpen. And our starters they're giving us 3-4 innings, and they're forcing us to go to the pen really late. So that's killing us. So what we were planning on doing is bringing, you know, JR in today, bumping Losi up a day, and maybe pushing JR back for a start. So right now we're just trying to scratch through and finish a game without having to throw a position player, to be honest with you.
This same team tomorrow, what have you learned from today that you can bring tomorrow to help snap this 8-game Orleans winning streak?
Pitchers got to control the strike zone. You know, we got to shut down the running game a little bit. There wasn't a whole lot of hard hit balls today. You know, the score was 5-1. We had opportunities to score runs in the first inning and let them off the hook by only putting one across. So it comes down to, we put a lot of pressure on Mickey Gasper with his 19 RBIs or 18 RBIs. Other guys are going to have to really start stepping it up.
All right, thank you so much, Coach. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Maura. That was Whitecaps coach Jamie Shevchik, and I like the point there at the end, in that there's so much pressure on Mickey Gasper to produce in this lineup that, you know, even Babe Ruth went 0-for-4 some days. And Mickey Gasper is a guy who I'm not comparing to Babe Ruth, but he is, I think, by far the best hitter in this Whitecaps lineup, or at least so far this season. And on days he doesn't produce, which, like any hitter, the best ever, it happens, this Whitecaps lineup just hasn't found a way to find other guys to score runs.
And I think part of that is that he has been so consistent. This is a lineup that's been pretty inconsistent all year. It sounds like when Jamie Shevchik talks about how he's frustrated with the way the team's hitting, he's really asking for consistency. He's kind of saying, okay, let's string hits together and get the whole lineup involved in an inning, kind of like the Firebirds did in the third inning tonight. Let's try and drive in runners when we have the chance instead of being kind of on again, off again. And Mickey Gasper, of course, is very steady at the plate. He approaches at bats well, and he's able to drive in, as Coach Shevchik said, a ton of runs. He's second in the league in runs driven in. And when he has a rough night, it's really consistency up and down the lineup that can kind of alleviate that for Brewster. And right now, that's what the Whitecaps are looking for. That's why when you look at their stats in the team, they're still up there in OPS. They're up there in ERA. They're top 3 in the league in those categories. But it's this inconsistency that has really troubled Brewster.
Inconsistency, the name of the game so far. Runners left on base, inconsistent fielding. Today they had another error and only 3 hits, though. 6 men left on. Once again, the final score from Eldridge Park: Whitecaps 1, Firebirds 5. Whitecaps fall to 8-9-1 on the season. Orleans wins their 8th consecutive game, 12-6. Davis Daniel takes the loss, and it looks like it'll be Ryan Rollison, who moved 2-0 on the year, who gets the win for the Firebirds. That'll just about wrap it up for us here from Eldridge Park. For Maura Sheridan and Carter Woodeel, I'm Aidan Doyle. Thank you for listening. Tomorrow, we'll be back at this very same place as the Firebirds. Same place on YouTube. That's what I'm talking. We're not here at Eldridge Park. We're back at Stony Brook Field tomorrow. So if you're coming to the game, don't come to Orleans. Go to Brewster, as the Whitecaps take on the Firebirds for the 2nd consecutive night, the 2nd game of a home-and-home series on July 3rd. Once again, that'll wrap it up for Maura, Carter, and myself. Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful and safe Sunday night.